Peterson brings us the story.
This happened around 5:40 last night at the McKay Hospital in Ogden. Police say 50-year-old Dustin Child had been seen at the hospital earlier in the day and was unhappy with his visit. He then came back later and told hospital staffers he had a bomb in his pocket, and if he moved his hand, it would go off. That section of the hospital was evacuated and emergency operations were put on hold. When officers responded, they found that Child did not have an explosive. Police documents say Child admitted to making the bomb threat, knowing it would disrupt the emergency room and bring a large police presence. He was taken into custody on suspicion of a number of crimes, including threats of terrorism and causing a false alarm with a weapon of mass destruction. Heather Peterson, KSL News Radio.
Utah Highway Patrol says a driver hit 2 patrol cars this morning after failing to switch lanes. KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla has details.
2 patrol cars were on the shoulder of I-15 near 400 North and Bountiful this morning, making a traffic stop when they noticed cars were not switching lanes to give them space. One of the patrol cars decided to follow and stop someone who didn't move over, when a different car that failed to switch lanes came up behind and rear-ended them. That car then rolled into the left lane and hit another car, which happened to be an unmarked patrol car.
The department says it's a good reminder to move over when law enforcement or emergency vehicles are on the side of the road. The Helper Police Department is investigating after a man's body was found inside a camping trailer that was fully engulfed in flames. Fire department responded to the call yesterday. They are not sure if the fire itself was the cause of death. No additional details have been released at this time. Our top national story from ABC News. President Trump is threatening to send military forces to Minnesota to stop anti-ICE protests. He plans to do this by invoking the Insurrection Act.
President Trump said on social media he'll institute the Insurrection Act to, quote, quickly put an end to what he calls a travesty in Minnesota. The Insurrection Act gives the president the power to deploy the military and federalize National Guard troops. It hasn't been used since 1992 in response to the riots in L.A. following the acquittal of police officers in the beating of Rodney King. But that was at the request of the California governor. The president last year threatened to invoke the Insurrection Act in response to protests over immigration and pushback from Democratic state officials. Karen Travers, ABC News. The White House.
Meantime, a state senator is sponsoring a bill to keep ICE agents contained here in Utah. KSL News Radio's Reagan Edelman has more.
Yesterday, Senator Nate Bluin introduced the ICE Out bill, a bill that would ban ICE agents from covering their faces, prohibit federal agents from entering buildings like healthcare centers and shelters, and stop state and local police from collaborating with ICE in spaces like churches, hospitals, libraries, and courthouses.
ICE is not making our communities safer. They are making folks feel scared, and they are hurting people. And there's a need to rein them in and hopefully in the long run to actually get rid of that agency.
Bluin says that this comes after some families have had to avoid some spaces like places of worship to avoid federal agents. Reagan Edelman, KSL News Radio.
Utah DEA agents say they seized a record amount of fentanyl and meth in 2025. The Rocky Mountain Field Division says their agents seized 2 million fentanyl pills in the state last year, which is double the previous record set in 2024.
Wholesale value for a pill is $1, $2. They can sell those for $10. There's just a lot of money to be made.
Assistant Special Agent in Charge Miguel Chino tells KSL while it's alarming that there's that much fentanyl being trafficked in Utah, their work is saving lives. Chino says the Mexican cartels are still the primary traffickers of fentanyl, but he says they are getting the ingredients from China. It's now easier than ever to tamper with the odometer, and scammers are taking advantage. Josh Engel runs a shop to repair odometers, and he tells KSL all it takes is a few inexpensive tools to make the change.
It has 150,000 miles on it, and once I hit enter, it'll take a couple seconds to go through, and you'll see the dash reset, and then you'll see when it comes back to life, it's reporting a new mileage, and we've shaved about 100,000 miles off the vehicle.
Carfax representatives say there are over 22,000 cars in the state suspected of odometer fraud, a 17% increase from last year. To protect yourself, they say to get a vehicle history report, and if you suspect that you've fallen for odometer fraud, document everything and contact the seller. It's been a month since Australia passed a law to ban kids under 16 from using social media. ABC's Mike Dubusky takes a look at how that's going.
About 4.7 million social media accounts were taken down in Australia within 48 hours of that country's landmark social media ban taking effect. That's according to Australia's e-safety commissioner. Australia's ban required 10 prominent social media companies to take reasonable steps to remove accounts belonging to kids under 16.
The ban impacts the top 10 major platforms, including TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. First Look Traffic. Good afternoon, Ricky.
Good afternoon, Maria. We've got a problem in Utah County. It's a crash northbound I-15, 8th North Orem, blocking a right lane of travel. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL News Time, 12:05.
Hear that? That's Mike. He took ZzzQuil Pure Z's, so now he's sleeping soundly on a Sunday night. ZzzQuil Pure Z's are fast-acting melatonin gummies with a complementary botanical blend to help Mike get the sleep he needs to wake up refreshed and ready to conquer Monday.
Let's do this Monday.
ZzzQuil Pure Z's, just for sleep. Really great sleep. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Use as directed.
Do you have an IRA or 401k? It's natural to think of this as being your money, right? But remember, you still have to pay taxes when you withdraw this money in retirement. And you could be paying a lot more in taxes on these accounts than you know. A lot more. Learn the strategies that can help you reduce or eliminate your taxes in retirement. Don't miss a special edition of Retirement Solutions Radio this Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock, right here on KSL News Radio 1027.
I'm back to doing what I love and more, thanks to the Good Feet store.
Does it feel like someone's stabbing a knife into your heel? Or does your lower back give you problems as the day goes on? The Good Feet store wants to help you like we helped Ann.
Every time I stood up, pain just shot up my legs. Fortunately, I found the Good Feet store. I went to them after my doctor diagnosed me with plantar fasciitis. And now, thanks to the Good Feet store, I'm 100%.
Wouldn't it be nice to get back to doing what you love, like Patrick did?
I was in constant pain. Somehow my fiance and I found our way into the Good Feet store. Put my foot on the arch support system. I put them in my shoes, my back, my knees, my ankles. Thank you. Thank you, everybody at the Good Feet store. You gave me my active life back.
Learn more or schedule an appointment at goodfeet.com and come in and get your free personalized fitting at the Good Feet store. We have locations in Farmington, Riverton, and Sandy.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Any Hour Services can help you make sure your furnace keeps you warm this winter. Whether you need a tune-up, a repair, or a second opinion about replacing it, call Any Hour Services or visit anyhourservices.com.
Thank you for joining us for Midday, recapping our top story this hour. A man was arrested in Ogden for threatening to blow up a hospital, causing emergency operations to be put on hold last night. KSL News Time, 12:08. There may be some relief coming if you're hoping to spend some time outside this weekend. Utah's air quality could improve tomorrow thanks to some winds and the higher levels of the atmosphere. KSL meteorologist Matt Johnson says he's watching the high pressure carefully.
What I am seeing is the core of high pressure move off the northwest coast of California. That could open the door for some upper-level winds to pick up in speed. If we can get that to happen over the state of Utah, that may just help our air quality as we head into Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
The worst air quality right now is in Salt Lake County, around Mill Creek, and around the University of Utah campus. While we are told extended time outside isn't a good idea because of the air, kids are still out there for recess.
School districts along the Wasatch Front follow the state's guidelines of holding indoor recess only on red air quality days. However, yesterday, KSL meteorologist Matt Johnson reported that it would be like smoking up to 3 cigarettes if you stayed outside for a whole day. Now, recess is only about an hour total, but should we be taking more precautions? Rich Stowell with the Alpine School District says parents can ask that their child stay in from recess, and the schools will honor that request.
In the Canyons District, Canyon View Elementary has been flying their orange flag in front of the school, which signals to families that it's an orange day for air quality, and that tells the community that the school will be cautious with recess decisions. A new report from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration shows 2025 was the third warmest year on record.
NOAA has been keeping those records since 1850, and that's not the only trend shown in this new report.
The planet's 10 warmest years on record have all occurred since 2015. So it's just like a trend line that just keeps going up and up and up. And that is why, by no surprise, it's just another year on that tally that has record warmth across the globe.
KSL meteorologist Devin Mashuli says 2025 was also the hottest year on record for Salt Lake City, beating out the previous record year, 2024. Don Brinkerhoff, KSL News Radio.
Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by UCCU. Supercharge your savings at uccu.com. Ricky, what's going on?
We've had two separate crashes in Orem on northbound I-15 at 8th North. At one point, they had been taking up the right lanes of travel, and it's as you're approaching the exit ramp. And now those vehicles left with the one accident moved over to the right shoulder. At one point, it did cause a little bit of backup in the area, and those delays have cleared. Now, further north on northbound I-15 in Salt Lake County, delays. Once again, we had an earlier crash in the Sandy area. Now an accident northbound I-15 near 106 South blocking right lanes, and that's starting to cause delays into Draper. Northbound on Redwood Road, an accident, and this is as you're approaching the 201 junction over to the right. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Calling for mostly sunny skies today and a high of 46. That's well above the normal and still likely looking at some haze. Little improvement to the air quality as we head into Friday and Saturday. Highs will top in the low to mid 40s. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Hazy sunshine, 37 degrees in downtown Salt Lake City. And coming up on Midday, a new report breaks down how climate change could reduce our chances of hosting the Winter Games in the future. We'll have the president of the Salt Lake City Utah Olympic Organizing Committee to tell us how they plan to make it work. That's coming up, streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio. We are Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
I'm Jordan Wilcox, your Utah tax attorney. When life gets overwhelming, some things tend to fall by the side.
I'm Carlos Sanchez from Draper, Utah. I was managing a business, helping out a business, doing paperwork and getting paid, and my wife got sick. We filed taxes, but then we got audited. And when I went and talked to the IRS, they didn't give me any choice. The IRS pretty much said, this is what you owe us, when are you gonna pay us? And we're talking quite a bit. But every time I drive, I listen to the radio. Jordan Wilcox, Jordan Wilcox. So I figure there's a reason this guy's on the radio. So I called him.
Put an end to IRS collection and aggression today.
The amount that the IRS came up with, close to $250,000, and the offer in compromise was about $7,600. That's it.
This is Utah tax attorney Jordan Wilcox. Let's solve your IRS nightmare. Visit endtaxworry.com.
Go for it. The outcome, it was worth it. I'm okay.
endtaxworry.com.
Every January, Duke's Jewelers celebrates another year serving the Springville community. And this year, they're doing it in a big way. It's the anniversary sale. And for 3 days only, January 22nd through 24th, all jewelry in the store is 50% off. That's right, half off everything in the case. Diamonds, gold, colored gemstones, signature pieces, everyday favorites. If it sparkles, it's on sale. And that's not all. For those dreaming up something one of a kind, special orders, custom design projects, and all watches are 25% off. Duke's Jewelers is proud to be a fourth-generation family-run business, and this sale is the Duke's way of saying thank you for supporting local, choosing Main Street, and trusting Duke's Jewelers with your most meaningful moments. But don't wait. These savings last just 3 days, January 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. Visit Duke's Jewelers on Main Street in Springville and shop the biggest sale of the entire year. Duke's Jewelers. Elevate every moment. Some exclusions apply.
Women go through many changes in their lives. And we believe each milestone matters. That every new candle represents another step in your story. Our healthcare experts support women at every stage of life. Because each chapter deserves to be celebrated. Women's health. Nurture what's next. Find care near you at mountain.commonspirit.org. Common Spirit Health. Human kindness lives here.
Since 1947, Whipple Service Champions has been Utah's most trusted name for heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical services. Got a high-priced repair bill from another company and you're just not sure about it? Call Whipple. Get a free no-pressure estimate or bring in their quote for an honest second opinion totally free. Whipple Service Champions is Utah's first place for second opinion since 1947. Call 385-273-7167 for your free estimate today. 385-273-7167.
When you need the financial products and services for every stage of life, Cypress Credit Union is there for whatever the future holds. Visit cypresscu.com today.
KSL News Time, 12:15. The three things you need to know this hour. First,
Utah Highway Patrol is reminding Utahns to move over when law enforcement or emergency vehicles are on the side of the road after a car hit two highway patrol cars this morning. I'm KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla.
Second, a man was found dead inside a trailer in Helper yesterday. The trailer was engulfed in flames when fire crews arrived, but the cause of death is still under investigation. Third, traffic and weather together, Ricky.
3 right lanes blocked due to a crash with possible injuries northbound I-15 in Sandy after 106 South. Delays are stacking up pretty quickly, almost to Draper. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Subtle improvements to the air quality, but still hazy today. I'm Matt Johnson.
And hazy sunshine, 37 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Time now for KSL's top national stories.
From ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. Nearly 2 weeks after U.S. forces captured Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro and his wife, now charged with drug trafficking and conspiracy, President Trump is meeting with Maduro opposition leader Maria Corina Machado at the White House. She's seen as the legitimate winner of the presidential election in Venezuela and was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. President Trump recently said he didn't think Machado has enough respect to run Venezuela. At today's briefing, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt on the president's stance.
It was a realistic assessment based on what the president was reading and hearing from his advisors and national security team. And at this moment in time, his opinion on that matter has not changed.
The White House offering draft details on health care plans, something the president campaigned on. But so far, there's no detailed proposal amid the health care battle and cutbacks in Congress.
President Trump today announced details of what the White House is calling a broad health care initiative aimed at cutting drug prices, bringing down the costs of insurance premiums, and providing greater accountability and transparency from insurance companies. But the details are thin, and administration officials acknowledge that specific language would need to be written for Congress to move forward with legislation. The White House wouldn't say if it supports the bipartisan efforts to extend the expired Affordable Care Act subsidies, instead saying the president wants to send Americans money directly to help with their health care coverage, not have the government pay insurance companies. Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
After meeting with top Trump officials at the White House yesterday, Denmark and Greenland leaders underscoring that the Danish territory is not for sale or acquisition by the U.S. European and NATO allies, meantime, now taking measures to protect Greenland, moving resources to the region, and European troops have also arrived to take part in military exercises. On Wall Street, investors are in a buying mood. Stocks are up this hour in trading. You're listening to ABC News.
Time now for the KSL In-Depth. The new climate report found that as winters get warmer, Utah's ability to host the Winter Games could get more difficult. Joining me live is Fraser Bullock, the president of the Salt Lake City, Utah Olympic Organizing Committee. And thanks so much for being with me, Fraser.
Always a pleasure, Maria.
So what are your concerns when you hear a report like this? Are the warmer temperatures going to make it difficult for us to host the games?
Well, they'll make it more difficult around the world, but there are certain places that are better suited than others. And fortunately, Utah is among the best in the world, but that doesn't mean we won't face challenges. So, for example, for 2034, we'll be fine. If we host again in 2050, it'll be more challenging, and we may have to take some actions to adapt to changing climate. 2080 would be even more challenging, but there are things we can do. For example, the big challenge for us is March. And if we have early warming then for the Paralympics, that's when we hold the Paralympics, we may have to move the calendar forward. So we would start the games maybe late January, have a shorter gap in between the Olympics and Paralympics to make the games more safe to host in March for the Paralympics. there are also other things we can do, such as we stockpiled snow back in 2002 to be ready for an unexpected warm spell in March. And we tested that out in 2001. It worked well. So there are many things we can do to be able to still host the games, we believe, as late as 2080.
Yeah, and as I recall, 2002 wasn't the biggest snow year either.
It was not. It held off until long after Thanksgiving. We were getting a little nervous, but it allowed us time to build all our temporary bleachers and everything in the mountains. But then the snow came, and it came big, and it was actually perfect for us.
So when we talk about these adjustments that may need to be made, is that going to add to the cost of putting on the games?
We can do it in such a way that it won't add any cost, because if you just move things forward a week or two, that can be done without cost. If we compress the window between the Olympics and Paralympics, that just means a lot more work for some people, but it's still doable without adding significant cost. But it's all worth it, because Utah is one of the best places in the world to host the games, if not the best, because of the compact theater, the support of the people. So it's worth it to go through these exercises and thinking through what are the possibilities and actions we need to take to be able to be, hopefully, long-term host of the games many more times into the future.
And plus, time is on our side, right?
Time is on our side, yes. And we just love the games here in Utah, so let's keep at it.
All right. Fraser, thanks so much for being with me.
Thank you.
Live on the KSL Newsline, that is Fraser Bullock, the president of the Salt Lake City, Utah Olympic Organizing Committee. Let's get you up to date on the drive, traffic, and weather. It's brought to you by UCCU. Transfer savings, earn more. UCCU, love where you bank. Ricky?
Slow and go speeds on northbound I-15 in Salt Lake County. It's due to a crash after 106 South in Sandy. Crews are still blocking 3 right lanes of traffic. And we have solid backups to Draper at 114th South. In Utah County, the accident that we had northbound I-15 at 8th North in Orem has cleared. And we have the final cleanup of a small crash in West Valley, northbound Redwood Road, approaching the 201 junction. It is over to the right. Join 3-time Tony Award winner Patty Lupone January 26th at Abravanel Hall as she celebrates the 25th annual anniversary of her acclaimed concert, Matters of the Heart. Tickets on sale now at utahsymphony.org. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast. I got a high of 46 today with hazy sunshine. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, 43 with subtly improved air quality. Potentially seeing better air quality on Saturday, 44 the high, mostly sunny. Sunday, mostly sunny, 47. We go to 46, sunshine and haze on Monday. Looks like the haze really builds back as we get into Tuesday, 48. Next Wednesday, partly cloudy and a high of 49. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
That smoky, hazy sunshine, 39 degrees in downtown Salt Lake City. And the 7-day forecast is brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful. Quick check of the markets, and wow, they are in great territory. The Dow is up by more than 400 points. A complete update of your money news is coming up next.
When you're making resolutions for the new year, have you ever thought of making a resolution to get a new metabolism?
So that your body is burning fat more naturally? I used to have a terrible metabolism because I didn't know what to eat or when to eat it until I did Soda weight loss. I let go of 37 pounds, and now my metabolism works for me.
I let go of 70 pounds in 5 months, and it was so nice because once that metabolism changes, the things that affected you more regularly don't affect you anymore. And those are the things that I learned from my nutritionist as I was going along and even afterward. It's so helpful. They taught me how to be successful for life.
You can call and speak to a nutritionist at Soda Weight Loss today at 866-800-SODA, S-O-T-A. That's 866-800-SODA.
Or you can go to sodaweightloss.com and see the hundreds of before and after pictures. And right now is the best time to do it because if you join now, your partner joins for free, so you get 2 transformations for the price of 1.
It's 866-800-SODA.
Because soda is, say it with me, Amanda, state of the art.
Yeah, it's that time of the year. What about your truck bed? Get covered up from the bad weather at Jordan Camper's 7000 South State in Midville. You love your truck and want your truck bed to be protected and covered. Jordan Camper has a full range of tonneau covers, all the major brands with full warranties. From stylish one-piece models, soft and firm folding covers, to retractable and roll-up options. Give your truck a stylish new look with a one-piece tonneau cover from ARE. Come in and see what's new at 7000 South State in Midville. At Jordan Camper, the leader in featuring all kinds of truck accessories, and we'll install it for you. Check out our really good website or give us a call, 801-255-1512. Information at jordancamper.com.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime.
Our entry-level data plans start at just $20 a month. And for a limited time, switch and get your second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you and get your second month free today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional details.
This is the story of the one. As an HVAC technician, he and his digital multimeter are in high demand. So when a noisy office HVAC turns out to be a failing blower motor, he doesn't break a sweat. With Grainger's easy-to-use website and product information, he selects the product he needs to keep everything humming right along. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Getting help with plumbing repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Watching Utah's Money, a labor rights group in China has found evidence of worker exploitation in a factory responsible for making the viral Labubu dolls. China Labor Watch says they found one supplier made employees work excessive overtime, signed blank contracts, and gave no paid leave. That's according to the BBC. Internet pioneer Dig is making a return to the World Wide Web. The forum-based news and social website is backed by Reddit co-founder Alexis Ohanian and will focus on social media experience without the flood of bots and AI accounts. Taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow is up by 401 points. That's more than 0.75%, sitting at 49,551. S&P up by 37 points. The Nasdaq up by 149 points.
Is your financial advisor offering you up to a 30% upfront bonus? Or are they promising you up to 10% growth per year, all for your retirement income? If not, then you need to come to Trajan Wealth. I'm Jeff Jr., founder of Trajan Wealth. If you have a plan to retire within the next 10 years, don't wait only to find out it's too late. I've seen hardworking folks like you retire only to be required to go back to work, all because their advisor told them guarantees like these were too good to be true. They're not. That's up to $30,000 upfront or up to $10,000 per year on $100,000, all guaranteed for retirement income. Don't keep working when you're supposed to be retired, and don't let any financial advisor tell you it's too good to be true. Call Trajan today, 801-207-9900. That's 801-207-9900.
Annuities, non-advisory products. DBA Trajan Wealth Insurance Solutions. Additional disclosures at trajanwealth.com.
Jeff Kaplan. When I was a kid, my parents got me a subscription to Newsweek magazine. I would devour every page into the night. And to this day, I sit on my iPad looking for stories for my minute of news, flesh out our coverage, and I get to share the news with you.
Jeff Kaplan's Afternoon News, 3 to 7 on KSL News Radio.
Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by UCCU. Supercharger savings at uccu.com. Here's Ricky Meese.
Just one right lane now blocked northbound I-15 with this crash in Sandy after 106 South. There is a secondary crash in the mix, and it's been moved out of traffic over to the shoulder. However, we still have backed up traffic into Draper almost to 123rd South. The rest of your Valley freeways seeing a quiet drive at this time. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Calling for a high of 46 degrees today. Normal high is in the upper 30s. We'll go for sunshine and haze. Overnight, 25 degrees. Tomorrow we'll go to 43, mostly sunny, likely seeing a little bit of haze, but potential improvement to the air quality. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
And we'll definitely take any potential improvement to the air quality. Today's high expected to be 46 degrees. Taking a look at some of the area temperatures right now, Ogden's at 41, Logan is at 38, Park City at 39. They're the same as us, 39 degrees downtown.
You're listening to Midday with Maria Shilaos
on KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Good afternoon, KSL News Time, 1230. KSL's top story this hour. And it is developing news. A rally just wrapped up at the Utah Capitol as housing advocates and faith leaders push back against a proposed homeless campus. And they are calling for more housing instead. KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera is live with details. Eric?
Maria, I'm inside the rotunda at the Utah State Capitol where dozens of people are urging lawmakers to rethink how Utah responds to homelessness as the legislative session approaches. Much of today's rally centers on opposition to a proposed large centralized homeless services campus outside Salt Lake City, a plan critics say focuses too heavily on shelters and services instead of permanent housing that actually helps people exit homelessness. Democratic Senator Nate Bluin says one of the biggest problems right now is who is shaping these decisions, and without better data, voices from the ground level are getting lost.
That it's not just coming from the top down, it's not just coming from people who have a financial interest in these decisions, making them, coming from bottom up, from people that are impacted, from community and stakeholder groups that really interact and can push people in the right direction if we have the right data.
I counted roughly 100 people filled the rotunda, representing dozens of faith groups, housing advocates, and service providers, all urging lawmakers to focus on housing first as the session gets underway. Live at the Capitol, Eric Cabrera, KSL News Radio.
A Utah lawmaker wants to create a new alert system for missing people with certain disabilities or other vulnerabilities. KSL News Radio's Adam Small has details.
State Senator Jen Plum's bill would set up the Purple Alert system, similar to our already existing Silver Alert and Amber Alert systems.
This is for some of our folks who may be nonverbal, who may have some cognitive uniquenesses.
Senator Plum says several people brought this topic to her attention, but she says one recent case where a nonverbal man with autism went missing near the University of Utah played a big role in bringing this issue to light.
In that whole kind of process, there was some clarity that came to, I think, our public safety spaces, as well as some of our community advocates, that we need a better way to be able to share information, to let the public know, and ultimately protect these vulnerable folks.
Plum's bill currently only encompasses missing vulnerable adults, but she tells me she plans to amend it to include some kids who don't meet the criteria for an Amber Alert. Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
KSL's top national stories. President Trump is currently meeting with Venezuela's opposition leader at the White House. Mr. Trump is hosting Maria Corina Machado for lunch. Ahead of Machado's arrival, the president said that he expected a good and positive meeting. Machado is also expected to meet with lawmakers in the Senate today. Danish officials say that if President Trump tries to take Greenland by military force, other countries like France and Sweden will retaliate. More from ABC's Rachel Scott.
The country now taking preventative measures to deter the U.S. from acting, expanding its military presence on the island and asking other NATO allies to help. Overnight, a Danish plane arriving on the island for a military exercise. Here at home, there is little to no support for using America's military to take Greenland. A new poll shows 86%, including nearly 70% of Republicans, oppose doing so.
President Trump appears undeterred, posting online that not owning the island is unacceptable. Over 20 people, including several former college basketball players, have been charged in what prosecutors are calling a sports betting scheme. U.S. Attorney David Metcalf explains how it worked and how the two accused ringleaders, Marvis Fairley and Shane Hennon, allegedly operated it.
Mr. Fairley, Mr. Hennon, and these other leaders would bribe NCAA basketball players to the tune of $10,000 to $30,000 per game. The player would then agree to deliberately underperform in the game in which his team was favored to lose by a certain amount of points. They would then try to lose the game by more than that amount.
If convicted, the bribery charges carry a maximum sentence of 5 years. Fraud charges carry a maximum sentence of 20 years. A Sandy grandmother, Isabel Coral, remains in critical condition today after police say she was stabbed multiple times by her grandson. Melissa Tran worked alongside Coral in pediatrics and says her kindness always stood out.
Just to think, like, after the recovery, like, just the mental anguish that she's gonna go through, you know.
Tran confirmed that she's fighting for her life in the ICU. Police say Coral was found stabbed 8 to 10 times inside her apartment and rushed to the hospital for emergency surgery. Her family and friends have now launched a GoFundMe to help cover mounting medical bills. You can find the link at kslnewsradio.com. A 21-year-old man was arrested in Roy after police say he fought a 14-year-old boy. KSL News Radio's Cameron Elliott has more.
According to a police report from Roy PD, 2 juveniles were fighting outside of a seminary building near Roy Junior High School when 3 other people joined in. Among those 3 people was 21-year-old Israel Wofford. According to booking documents, Wofford was hanging out with the kids, who he says were family friends, when the fight broke out. The report says he was caught on a Snapchat video joining in on the fight where a juvenile was repeatedly punched and kicked while on the ground. If indicted, Wofford could face charges of aggravated assault, disorderly conduct, and 1 count of rioting. Cameron Elliott, KSL News Radio.
First look traffic. What's going on, Ricky?
We do have delays. Northbound I-15 Draper in Sandy. It's due to an accident still blocking a right lane after 106th South. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL News Time, 12:35.
You probably know if you need new windows. You hear the wind whistling. There's condensation between the panes. Maybe your heating bill's too high, but you don't want to pull the trigger because it costs a lot of money. I understand. And they understand at Advanced Window Products. After all, they've been creating custom state-of-the-art windows right here in Salt Lake for 39 years. They know what's up. That's why they offer 60-month 0% financing or buy now, pay later. You get the windows this winter for 30 to 40% less because you're buying straight from the factory. They'll build, they'll install your windows, and you don't have to pay for a year or more. At Advanced, they're committed to making your new windows affordable. And if you call now, they'll knock another $2,500 off your quote. State-of-the-art, energy-saving windows built here for Utah's changing climate. And right now, $2,500 off. Call for a quote, 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100, or go to advancedwindows.com.
If you're like a lot of other people who've already thrown out their New Year's resolutions and your resolution was to take off some extra weight, it's not too late. Really, the resolution isn't what counts. It's having a really great plan. And I want to tell you about Salt Lake City Fat Loss, because with this all-natural plan, I've lost more than 40 pounds. And I really love this plan because it's really easy to stick with. You're using all natural foods that you're going to be able to continue to use into maintenance. So you're going to know how to really maintain that weight loss. And since it's all natural, there are no side effects. And it burns the stored belly fat very quickly, which means you don't get frustrated. It's really easy to stick with. They have a great app. It helped keep me accountable. It gave me great resources and recipes to help me be successful. Plus, you can reach out at any time and ask questions. Right now is a perfect time to start because due to their overwhelming demand, they have extended their huge New Year's sales. So right now you can save 20% off, but it's only for a limited time. And did I tell you this plan is less than other plans because you aren't expected to pay for a nutritionist or extra like things like breakfast bars. So take advantage of the huge savings now. Lock in the savings at slcfatloss.com. That's slcfatloss.com, slcfatloss.com.
Stop for a moment and think about this. Do you know how much money in your 401k or IRA is actually yours? Or will the government take a bigger chunk than you thought? Remember, you still might owe taxes on that money. But do you have a plan to help make sure you don't pay more than you should? At Capital Wealth Advisors, we believe you deserve to keep more of what you've earned, which is why we're here to help you navigate the confusing world of retirement taxes. It's your money. You deserve to know what's at stake. Right now, taxes are historically low, but they won't be this low forever. So call the Capital Wealth Advisors team today so you don't miss out on this opportunity. 801-210-5500. That's 801-210-5500. You work hard for your money, and we'll work just as hard to help you keep it. Capital Wealth Advisors, 801-210-5500. Advisory services offered through Capital Wealth Advisors, LLC, a state of Utah registered investment advisor. Firm may not give tax advice.
KSL News Time 1238. The White House has unveiled a plan to reduce health care costs, a plan that President Trump campaigned on in 2024.
President Trump today announced details of what the White House is calling a broad health care initiative aimed at cutting drug prices, bringing down the costs of insurance premiums, and providing greater accountability and transparency from insurance companies. But the details are thin, and administration officials acknowledge that specific language would need to be written for Congress to move forward with legislation. The White House wouldn't say if it supports the bipartisan efforts to extend the expired Affordable Care Act subsidies, instead saying the president wants to send Americans money directly to help with their health care coverage, not have the government pay insurance companies. Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
A team from the University of Utah has created and launched the first ever diabetes website in American Sign Language. KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis has more.
American Sign Language isn't English, says Dr. Michelle Lichman, one of the website creators. She says ASL has its own unique grammar and syntax, making it about as similar to English as French. Deaf and hard of hearing people are at 3 times higher risk of getting diabetes, but often have a difficult time accessing information online and with providers. Lichman says this website is a step towards helping the community.
Lichman says they're continually working to update a glossary of medical terms for both deaf people and interpreters to use. KSL News Time, 1239, traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by UCCU. Transfer savings, earn more, UCCU. Love where you bank. Here's Ricky Meese.
Northbound I-15 has definitely seen some issues today, especially just between 9 and 1 o'clock. And our latest problem is this crash in Sandy, northbound I-15, still blocking a right lane near the Hale Center Theater. So just after 106 South, with that right lane blocked, we still have delays into Draper. At about 114th South, approaching that area, speeds are improving and you're moving. You're just not doing it quickly. So continue to add an extra 10 to 15 minutes minimum of delay. Now, the rest of your Valley freeways seeing a quiet drive. I-15 in Davis, Weber, and Utah counties, all clear. Your ultimate destination for the hottest new cars and trucks, off-road vehicles, exotics, and more is at the Utah Auto Expo, the 16th through 19th at Mountain America Expo Center. Tickets at autoshowutah.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Subtle improvement to air quality numbers. I've got sunshine today with a high of 46, but still some visible haze. As we head into Friday, mostly sunny, 43. Potential to see a little bit better air quality. Saturday, 44, and mostly sunny. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
A lot of sunshine, 39 degrees in downtown Salt Lake City. And coming up on Midday, a wild rescue in southeastern Utah. We'll get the story from KSL TV's Dan Rascone in just a moment. That's coming up, streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio. We are Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Hi, this is Doug Wright. You've heard me talk now for years about the Connecticut soft water system that we have in our home. As we head into the colder weather, if you're dealing with dry and itchy skin, do you notice your skin is cracking? It's uncomfortable and the lotion doesn't seem to give you the relief you need? Hard water may be a hidden contributor to that pain and discomfort of dry, itchy skin. I've got Monty here from Connecticut Quality Water Systems of Salt Lake, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer and an expert in overcoming challenges with hard water here in Utah.
Yeah, thanks, Doug. When you shower in hard water, the minerals don't rinse away completely, forming a film in your skin, leaving you feeling tight, dry, and constantly itching.
So the hard water minerals are essentially leaving a sticky residue on my body and even in my hair?
Exactly. Connecticut removes the minerals before they touch your skin, leaving you feeling silky, smooth, and comfortable.
Do what I did and stop buying expensive lotions and start treating the source of the problem. Find out how soft your water could be at softwaterutah.com.
Hi, it's Julie. January is normally a winter wonderland in Logan, but instead we're wondering about winter altogether. Ugh, this weather. It's easy to get stuck in a rut this time of year, so get in your car and escape to Logan for a refreshing change of pace. Get a hotel, swim in the pool, and check out great restaurants that are new to you. Catch Aggie basketball, gymnastics, or hockey, and especially Aggie ice cream. Bull Tracks is my personal favorite, in case you were wondering. Take in a live performance or see a classic flick at the Utah Theater. Throw hatchets, go bowling, or ice skate outdoors. Ski the Beeve and check out their new lodge, or rent snowmobiles in Logan Canyon. Enjoy a sleigh ride through a giant herd of elk. I don't really know if you should pack winter boots or galoshes and an umbrella, but either way, your Logan stay will be packed with fun, great food, and beautiful scenery. Just get here. Check out explorelogan.com/winter, explorelogan.com/winter, explorelogan.com/winter.
KSL News Time 1245. The three things you need to know this hour. First,
a man has been arrested after threatening to set off a bomb at McKay Hospital in Ogden yesterday, forcing their emergency department to shut down for nearly 20 minutes. I'm KSL News Radio's Heather Peterson.
Second, a Utah lawmaker wants to set up a new alert system called a Purple Alert for missing vulnerable people, like those who are nonverbal or have other special needs. Third, traffic and weather together, Ricky.
Still backed up northbound I-15 in Draper-Sandy due to a crash after 106 South. That right lane is still blocked with what remains of this crash, and you will see backups past 114th South. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Mild temps with highs in the mid-40s today and a little bit of haze. I'm Matt Johnson.
Hazy sunshine, 39 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Time now for KSL's top national stories.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. The Trump administration is responding after a volatile night on the streets of Minneapolis. Protesters clashing with federal agents. President Trump now threatening to invoke the Insurrection Act. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem says U.S. citizens should also be prepared to show proof of citizenship.
Every single action that our ICE officers take is according to the law and following protocols that we have used for years, that this administration has used, that the previous administration used.
President Trump holding talks with Venezuela's opposition leader at the White House this hour on what's next for the country's leadership. It comes after U.S. forces ousted leader Nicolas Maduro. 20 people, including more than a dozen former NCAA players, have been charged in what federal prosecutors call a point-shaving betting scheme that rigged college basketball. The indictment alleges that players received bribes up to $30,000 a game at times to underperform, all to favor the bettors. This is ABC News.
Time now for the KSL In-Depth. A group of wilderness therapy students came to the rescue to save a couple who was trapped under their side-by-side. This happened in Emery County near Calf Canyon. KSL TV's Dan Rascone reports.
A critical emergency in the canyons of Emery County.
He was pinned underneath at the waistline.
A four-door side-by-side UTV flipped on its side with a man trapped underneath.
He was in excruciating pain.
Fortunately, right after it happened, Madison and a group of leaders and boys from the Elements Wilderness Therapy Program out of Huntsville just happened to be close by.
The gentleman was very distressed, very agitated and scared, and was screaming for help.
When they arrived, the husband and wife were both trapped underneath the machine. The group worked together to free the couple.
Lifted up a couple of feet, just enough so that another staff could pull the man out from underneath and another staff could pull the woman out from underneath.
Madison says the wife got stuck while trying to free the husband, who had the weight of the machine on his waist. Thankfully, all the group leaders had emergency training and the boys were eager to help.
Those students didn't hesitate to act. They worked together. They listened to instructions.
I believe I was put there for a reason.
Deputy Jeremy Lake also just happened to be in the area, allowing for medical help to get there quickly.
I think because of everything that happened and where everybody was, yes, it saved his life. But he's super lucky. He's very lucky.
And that is KSL TV's Dan Rascone reporting. Let's get you up to date on the drive, traffic, and weather. It's brought to you by UCCU. Supercharge your savings at uccu.com. Here's Ricky Meese.
Maria, we have a right lane still blocked on northbound I-15 just after the Southtown Mall, 106 South in Sandy. The cleanup of this crash continues, and in the meantime, with that right lane blocked, we're still seeing backups to 114th South. If you don't want to sit in these delays, avoid northbound I-15, maybe State or Jordan Gateway, and then rejoin the freeway at 90th South, and then smooth sailing after that. The Good Feet store, supporting you with comfort no matter what the day brings. Find the location nearest you at goodfeet.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast has a couple of very small disturbances way up high in the atmosphere that could help to alleviate the inversion a little. I got a high of 46 today, still visible haze, sunshine. 43 tomorrow, potentially improved air quality, mostly sunny. You head into Saturday, 44, sunshine, mostly sunny on Sunday, 47. We then go to mid and upper 40s with more haze building back in as we move into Monday, Tuesday, and even Wednesday with partly cloudy skies there Wednesday afternoon. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
A lot of sunshine above that haze, 39 degrees. The 7-day forecast is brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful. A quick check of the markets at this hour. The Dow is up by about 0.75%, up more about 340 points. A complete update of your money news is coming up next.
All right, Utah, this is your shot. KSL and Ivory Homes are teaming up to send you to the big game in Santa Clara on February 8th. If you've ever dreamed of stepping onto football's biggest stage, the time to play is now. To qualify, just stop by any Ivory model home between now and January 31st. Walk through and ask about Ivory's super low rates, as low as 4.99% for a 30-year fixed. So get off the sidelines, visit an Ivory model home today, and enter for your chance to see the most incredible halftime show and the ultimate football experience. Start now at ivoryhomes.com/super. That's ivoryhomes.com/super.
This sweepstakes is open until January 31st, 2026 for residents of Utah who are at least 18. No purchase necessary. See the official rules at ivoryhomes.com/super.
It all started with a commitment to comfort. Gillette Heating and Air is proud to be Utah County's go-to team for expert HVAC and plumbing solutions. Need a repair, upgrade, or seasonal tune-up? Don't let cost hold you back. With 0% financing available, it's easy to get the work done now and pay later. Plus, save $100 on any repair over $500 and keep your system running strong with a professional tune-up before the heat hits. Visit GilletteHVAC.com or call 385-GET-COOL to book today. Homegrown service pros, financing made simple, comfort made easy.
Carrier, turn to the experts. A Carrier factory authorized dealer.
Looking for a secure retirement plan without market risk? Look no further. Lyle Boss, president of Boss Financial, specializes in no market risk retirement strategies with guarantees of principal, guaranteed growth, and lifelong income. Join Lyle right here each Saturday and Sunday for his Safe Money radio show and call him now at 855-355-SAFE for your complimentary customized Safe Money information kit and Safe Money book. Nothing but upside here at 855-355-SAFE.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You sort through tons of resumes and you get too many so-so applicants. You're just waiting for someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now, there's a place where you can meet them fast. ZipRecruiter.
Need to hire right away. Start your search for strong candidates. The right fit awaits. Build your team. Build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try it for free, and you're on your way to meeting your match. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. So try it now. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
When you need the financial products and services for every stage of life, Cypress Credit Union is there for whatever the future holds. Visit cypresscu.com today.
I'm Andrew Saul, Commissioner of Social Security. I'm here to warn you about telephone scammers pretending to be government employees. Some of these scammers may say threatening things like you will be arrested if you don't make payments or provide personal information. Do not fall for these tricks. These calls are not from us. Real Social Security employees will never threaten you for information or money. If you receive a call like this, hang up. Never give the caller your personal information, like your Social Security number or bank account, or send money in any form, cash, gift cards, wire transfers, or prepaid debit cards. Report the call to our law enforcement arm, the Office of the Inspector General, at oig.ssa.gov. Share this information with your friends and family.
KSL News Time 12:54. An Oscar-winning actor is fighting to protect what made him famous, his face and his voice.
With artificial intelligence being used to create identical likenesses of famous people, Matthew McConaughey hopes to get ahead of AI by trademarking his image and his voice. He's filed videos of himself standing on a porch and in front of a tree, and an audio clip of the catchphrase that brought him to fame.
All right, all right, all right.
In a statement, the 56-year-old says he wants to create what he calls a clear perimeter around his property, specifically his likeness and his voice. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
Watching Utah's money, Verizon says they fixed an outage that affected millions of users across the U.S. In an official release from the company, they apologized and pledged restitution in the form of account credits for the 2 million users who were affected. President Trump has enacted a 25% tariff on computer chips, including products from tech giants like NVIDIA and AMD. The president said that he may impose broader tariffs on imports of semiconductors in the near future. In the wake of Grok AI's trip through hot water, the Senate has okayed a bill called the Disrupt Explicit Forged Images and Non-Consensual Edits, or Defiance Act. That would allow victims of deep fakes to sue companies for up to $250,000 in damages. A similar bill was introduced last year but was stalled in the House. Taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow up by 0.75%, up 365 points and sitting at 49,515. S&P, it's up by 32 points, and the NASDAQ, it's up 126 points.
Hi, I'm Maria, salon owner. You know the jingle. Now discover the facts about Ozempic, a GLP-1. There's only one FDA-approved Ozempic, made by Novo Nordisk. Learn about the real thing.
Talk to your healthcare professional today. Call 1-833-OZEMPIC or visit Ozempic.com to view the medication guide and to learn more about Ozempic. Semaglutide injection 0.5, 1, and 2 milligrams.
The new year brings new health goals and wealth goals. Protecting your identity is an important step. Your info is in endless places that could expose you to identity theft, leading to lost funds. LifeLock monitors millions of data points per second. If your identity is stolen, our restoration specialists will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Resolve to make identity health and wealth part of your New Year's goals with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS. Visit lifelock.com. Terms apply.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-292-4541 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-292-4541. That's 800-292-4541. What do you have to lose? Call 800-292-4541. Again, 800-292-4541.
Getting help with electrical repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
KSL Broadcast Group contests are open to participants 18 years of age and older that are residents of Utah, unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contest may not enter. Persons who have won in the last 30, 60, or 90 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. Full general contest rules are available at KSLNewsRadio.com/contests.
KSL News Time 12:59, traffic and weather. It's brought to you by UCCU. Transfer savings, earn more. UCCU, love where you bank. Ricky Meese, that's a mess in Sandy.
It's been a very challenging commute for drivers on northbound I-15, but it is improving. They're still working to clear this crash northbound I-15 in Sandy after 106 South. The right lane is still blocked. Even though they're making a lot of progress, we're still seeing backups, not quite to 114 South. So that is the good news. So still another 5 or so minutes to get around it. Again, scoot over into those center and left lanes in order to get by. New year, new home ideas. The South Jordan Home Show is this weekend at the Bastion Agri Center. Meet local contractors, explore the latest in home improvement, and save time and money. Free admission and parking. Details at southjordanhomeshow.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Headed for a high today of 46 degrees and still not a chance of rain or snow in the forecast for the next 7 days. 41 degrees downtown.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Protesters rallying at the state capitol today in support of Utah's homeless community.
It will soon be too late to avoid the shame of inviting the world's elite to visit Utah during the 2034 Olympic Games at a time when the total unsheltered homeless population is double what it is today.
One lawmaker saying a homeless policy is being driven by the wrong people.
That it's not just coming from the top down, that it's not just coming from people who have a financial interest in these decisions.
The time is 1 o'clock on Thursday, January 15th. It's midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Coming up, we'll go up to Utah's Capitol Hill for a live report on the rally and what supporters want the state to change during the upcoming legislative session. Also this hour,
it's better to at least have the financial protection than nothing.
It's the final deadline today to enroll in health care coverage on the Affordable Care Act's marketplace. We have tips for you last-minute folks who are still signing up. But first, our top stories. A man has been arrested after police say he threatened to set off a bomb at McCady Hospital in Ogden yesterday. Police documents say 50-year-old Dustin Child was unhappy with his results at the hospital, so he told the staff that he had a bomb in his pocket and he would set it off to get the response he wanted. Turns out he didn't actually have a bomb, but Child admitted he wanted to cause a disruption at the hospital. Emergency operations were halted for nearly 20 minutes while this was happening. Our top national story from ABC News. Today, President Trump meeting with Venezuelan opposition leader Maria Corina Machado at the White House. Earlier, President Trump said that he didn't think Machado had the support needed to lead Venezuela, even though Machado's opposition party garnered enough votes to win the election in 2024. Those results were blocked by the Maduro regime.
It was a realistic assessment based on what the president was reading and hearing from his advisors and national security team. And at this moment in time, his opinion on that matter has not changed.
At the White House press briefing, Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said that the president still holds those viewpoints about Machado. The Trump administration continues to work with Maduro's allies to seize Venezuelan oil. Taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow is up by 366 points. It sits at 49,515. S&P up by 32, and the NASDAQ gets up by 127 points. Traffic and weather together is brought to you by UCCU. Supercharge your savings at uccu.com. Here's Ricky Meese.
All right, lane's still blocked. This crash in Sandy has been tying up the commute northbound I-15. It occurred just after 106 South, and we are still seeing some backups in the area. Once you're past that, you are good to go all the way to the downtown exit. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Taking a look at the forecast for the Wasatch Front, today's high 46, but we're going to be up to 49 degrees by next Wednesday and still not a chance of rain. Matt Johnson saying we should see a little bit of easing from all of this haze after a cold front moves in tomorrow. Right now, 41 degrees downtown.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
If you're one of the millions of Americans behind on your taxes, if you're afraid to open your mail because IRS collection letters could be coming, listen carefully. The IRS is cracking down, taking paychecks, freezing bank accounts, revoking passports. That's a fact. But here's what most people don't know. There are official tax relief programs designed to help struggling taxpayers. Programs that could save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief. Optima's award-winning team will fight to protect your paycheck, your passport, and your property. Their tax attorneys and licensed tax professionals will work tirelessly to get you the best deal possible with the IRS. Every day, penalties and interest keep piling up, so don't wait. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
My friend Joey means well.
Always remember that the early bird gathers no moss.
But he gets a little confused.
You know, you can't make a silk purse out of a wooden nickel.
Like Joey, many of us can be confused when it comes time to plan for retirement. When to take Social Security, how to use that 401k, what about the stock market, taxes, and Medicare? Todd Kim at Galileo Wealth Management can help to simplify retirement planning. His goal is to have you walk into retirement with confidence, not worry, and to address the number one concern among retirees today, the fear of running out of money. Call Galileo Wealth today for a no-cost, no-obligation meeting to talk about the details of your retirement. 385-247-7000. It's 385-247-7000. Or online, GalileoWealth.com. And remember,
one man's trash is thicker than water. Of course, water's not thick at all. It's watery.
Thanks for tuning into Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. A rally at the Utah Capitol today is pushing back against proposed homeless services campus and calling for more housing instead of shelter-only solutions. KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera was there, and he joins me now live. And Eric, what were people asking for today?
Maria, the message was pretty consistent that homelessness doesn't get solved by shelters alone. About 100 people filled the rotunda, including faith leaders, housing advocates, and service providers, all urging lawmakers to focus on deeply affordable housing with services rather than a large centralized campus that would move people out of the city. A big concern they raised is that the state is making major decisions without fully understanding who actually needs what kind of housing.
Eric, that's where Senator Nate Bluin comes in. And what is he trying to do with his bill?
Right. Democratic Senator Nate Bluin says the state lacks clear data on the different groups experiencing homelessness and that it makes it harder to build solutions that actually work. He told me today that too many of these decisions are being made top down without enough input from people who work directly with those most impacted.
The message is really just trying to bring the stakeholders who directly communicate with the impacted populations on a day-to-day basis to make sure that that it's not just coming from the top down, that it's not just coming from people who have a financial interest in these decisions, making them, that it is coming from bottom up, from people that are impacted, from community and stakeholder groups that really interact and can push people in the right direction if we have the right data, push policy in the right direction if we have the right data to get the things that we need to get built, to get the services that we need to have online to help people out of their struggles that they're feeling right now because of other policy choices we've made, making sure that those people are at the table when the decisions are getting made.
Eric, we've heard a lot about this homeless campus. The Republican leaders seem to be pretty committed to this new campus model. Does Bluin think that there's still time to change course?
He told me he's not optimistic about stopping the campus idea outright, but that he is concerned about what happens if it's rolled out without full funding or the services to support it.
Going halfway is just going to make things worse than trying to actually provide the full scope that they're trying to do. I think you're going to end up with people that are just being ignored and treated in ways that are potentially worse than they have now. Because right now at least they have some autonomy, and in a situation like that, you're going to have it sounds like certain types of law enforcement agents and restrictions they have to meet in order to be in that position, and that scares me. I think especially if you have an underfunded, under-resourced, understaffed situation where I think you'd see some heavy-handed tactics being used, like we're seeing, frankly, with ICE and with other law enforcement agencies who feel empowered to do whatever they want right now. So that bigger picture really scares me.
So, Eric, what happens next?
So Bluin says his bill is meant to get better data on the table before lawmakers commit to massive projects. Advocates at today's rally say they're going to keep showing up during the legislative session, pushing lawmakers to prioritize housing, not just shelters, and to make sure people most affected by homelessness have a real voice in the decisions being made.
All right. Thank you, Eric. KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera joining me live from the state capitol. Turning to national news now, President Trump is threatening to send military forces to Minnesota to stop anti-ICE protests. ABC News' Karen Travers has more on the president's plans, including a threat to invoke the Insurrection Act.
We have heard the president threaten this before, but what this would mean is the president could deploy the military and he could federalize National Guard troops. And I think it's important to remember that this has not been used, the Insurrection Act, since 1992. That was in Los Angeles in response to the riots that happened after the Rodney King verdict. It hasn't been used without coordination with state officials since the 1960s, and that was in response to protecting civil rights protesters. But when you look at some of the language from administration officials in recent days, they certainly seem to be teeing up the potential for the president to take this action. Stephen Miller, one of the president's top advisors, has said that this is the Minnesota lawmakers right now and officials there are encouraging violent insurrection. A top official at the Justice Department, Todd Blanche, just last night in a post directed at the governor of Minnesota and the mayor of Minneapolis said, "I'm focused on stopping you from your terrorism by whatever means necessary," and said that wasn't a threat, it was a promise. Now, when you look back, the president in June said that he could potentially use the Insurrection Act in response to some protests that were aimed at the immigration crackdown at that point. And back in October, he also said he would consider using it as a way to get around state and local officials that were not cooperating with his administration on those same efforts. So is this another threat, or is the administration actually going to go forward with it? We'll have to see.
That is ABC's Karen Travers. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz and Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey are both urging protesters to remain peaceful. But Republicans say they're not doing enough to restore peace and order in the Twin Cities area. During a media availability today, Secretary of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem was asked about the reports that U.S. citizens and others were getting stopped in public and asked about their immigration status.
Every single action that our ICE officers take is according to the law and following protocols that we have used for years, that this administration has used, that the previous administration used.
She defends the ICE agents in Minnesota and around the country, saying they are following the law and running their operations according to training. Midday continues in just 60 seconds.
Your ultimate destination to explore the latest vehicles from top brands is the Utah Auto Expo. See the hottest new cars, trucks, and SUVs. You can even get behind the wheel and test drive several new models right at the show. We've got exotics, classics, customs, and more. We even have vehicles to get you into the great outdoors. Bring the family. There's fun for all ages, including Subaru Loves Pets and more. The Utah Auto Expo, the 16th through 19th at Mountain America Expo Center with plenty of free parking. More info and tickets at autoshowutah.com.
At Uline, the prevailing opinion is, if you don't live it, you don't believe it. The people at Uline believe in hard work, and they live it by being there 24/7 to answer your call, having 41,000 items in stock, and offering same-day shipping from 12 locations across North America. Business owners, sellers, buyers, shippers, and packers believe it. Uline is the hard-working, dependable source for your shipping and industrial supplies. Visit uline.com.
When it comes to health, experts say one of the most important things you can do is to make sure that you are educated. Whether that's being educated on your family history, your risks of certain cancers or diseases, or how to improve prevention for various medical issues, education is key. Like they say, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. For people who communicate in American Sign Language, there is a new way to get educated on diabetes, and it's thanks to a new website from the University of Utah.
This is the first diabetes education website in American Sign Language, and the reason why it was created, a couple of reasons. So I grew up in deaf culture. My mom and 5 deaf aunts and uncles are deaf, so 6 deaf family members total. And so I've seen time and time again their struggle to get help information because interpreters aren't always provided and information often is in English. So if you go to a clinic, a lot of times if you don't speak their language, they give you a handout and just hope for the best. And so I really saw challenges in my family. And then I'm also a nurse practitioner, so I provide diabetes care, and I just thought that I could try to merge those two worlds together. And so I've been working with a community advisory board who are deaf all across the country, and we really sought to understand what their needs were. And one of the things that came out of meeting with them is they said they really needed health information that was easily accessible in their primary language, American Sign Language.
Michelle Lichman is an associate professor and nurse practitioner with the Hughes College of Nursing. One question she's heard before is, why doesn't English information work for those who communicate in ASL? A lot of people equate the two together, but Lichman says there are some key differences can make it hard for an ASL communicator to fully understand the things written in English.
A lot of times people make an assumption that American Sign Language is visual English, and it's not. It's 2 completely different languages, 2 different grammar structures and syntax, and so you have to liken them to 2 other languages like French or Spanish or English. So they're just different. And so when you provide an English handout, it doesn't translate in the same way as it would if it's an American Sign Language. American Sign Language is very visual, and just an English handout does not provide that.
So what makes this new educational resource website so different? It uses a GIF for headers, and the majority of the information is communicated with videos with closed captions and an English voiceover. The website also features a glossary for both those who are deaf or hard of hearing and interpreters to use. Lichman tells KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis that people who are deaf or hard of hearing actually have tripled the risk of getting diabetes, so this kind of website is critical.
They're more likely to report that they have diabetes than hearing individuals. And we think that's for a couple reasons. So one is there are a few more rare conditions where people have this double whammy. They have diabetes and they're deaf or hard of hearing. But those are more rare. What is more common is this lack of health information. So lack of health information even growing up. So if you sort of back up, one of the statistics is up to 70% of parents never learn sign language when they have a deaf child. And so there's deaf children who grow up in this hearing world, and some family members can't even communicate with them to say, hey, grandma has diabetes, and these are some things that she needs to pay attention to. And then also in this hearing world that some of us are in, there's different things that we'll learn passive information on the radio or on the news about different health conditions that deaf people don't get unless it's they're directly given that information. And then of course, if you go to the clinic, the statistic is half of the time that a deaf person requests an interpreter, one does not show up. So imagine going to the doctor's office and half of the time you can't communicate your needs and you can't understand the instructions that are given to you.
The website can be found at deafdiabetescan.org. We'll get a link up to it on our website, kslnewsradio.com. Tracking measles through Utah's wastewater, it's helping public officials track the disease more than 1 week before clinical cases are reported. Details coming up, but first, it's traffic on KSL News Radio. It's brought to you by UCCU. Transfer savings, earn more. UCCU, love where you bank. Ricky?
Good news on northbound I-15. If you've been sitting in the backup, speeds are improving very quickly. The crash has been cleared northbound I-15 after 106 South in Sandy. all lanes are now open. Whipple Service Champions is Utah's most trusted name for heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical services. Call 385-273-7167 for your free estimate today. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
If you're tired of hot, uncomfortable dress shirts that just don't hold up, sweat stains, stuffy collars, short tails, sound familiar? Meet your new favorite dress shirts from Serve Clothing. The game-changing design features a mesh collar shield that stops sweat stains from ruining your look. Plus, built-in vents keep you comfortable under suits and jackets, no matter the season. You'll love the extra length that stays tucked in and the antimicrobial odor-fighting fabric that keeps you fresh all day. Forget about replacing your dress shirts every 6 months. With Serve Clothing's unbeatable 2-year guarantee, you know your shirt is built to last through the toughest work days in any climate. And giving back is a priority. Last year, Serve Clothing helped to outfit more than 750 missionaries and others in need using a portion of your orders. Don't wait. Serve shirts sold out 4 times last year. Visit serveclothing.com right now to get yours before they're gone. Serve Clothing. Dress shirts that actually serve you. serveclothing.com.
What if you could have reliable and intelligent Wi-Fi? And get this, what if you could keep it at the same price for 5 years? That's the Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. 5 years of Wi-Fi that boosts speeds to the devices that need them most. That finds and fixes problems before you even notice them. Like super intelligent Wi-Fi with a 6th sense. And that keeps you gaming in the fast lane, even when the whole family's banking on bandwidth. All your devices working in perfect harmony for 5 whole years. And here's the best part. No annual contracts, no hidden fees, and our best equipment included. Hey, let's face it, a lot can change in 5 years. Kids grow taller, dreams grow bigger. But your Wi-Fi? It would stay reliable and the price would stay put. The Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. Lock in your price and unlock the possibilities. Xfinity. Imagine that. Select plans only. Restrictions apply.
1-877 Cards for Kids. KARS Cards for Kids. 1-877 Cards for Kids. Donate your card today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Ready to get rid of that old car? Donate it to Cars for Kids. Call 1-877-CARS-FOR-KIDS to reach a friendly live agent. Donation's super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Call us now, 1-877-CARS-FOR-KIDS. That's Cars with a K to donate your car today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Did you know you can donate real estate too? Go to carsforkids.org. That's carsforkids.org.
When you're making resolutions for the new year, have you ever thought of making the resolution to get a new metabolism?
So that your body is burning fat more naturally. I used to have a terrible metabolism because I didn't know what to eat or when to eat it until I did SOTA weight loss. I let go of 37 pounds, and now my metabolism works for me.
I let go of 70 pounds in 5 months, and it was so nice because once that metabolism changes, the things that affected you more regularly don't affect you anymore. And those are the things that I learned from my nutritionist as I was going along and even afterward. It's so helpful. They taught me how to be successful for life.
You can call and speak to a nutritionist at SOTA Weight Loss today at 866-800-SOTA, S-O-T-A. That's 866-800-SOTA.
Or you can go to sodaweightloss.com and see the hundreds of before and after pictures. And right now is the best time to do it because if you join now, your partner joins for free, so you get 2 transformations for the price of 1.
It's 866-800-SOTA.
Because soda is, say it with me, Amanda, state of the art.
Respiratory virus season is quickly approaching, meaning we'll see more flu, COVID, and RSV in our community. The good news is vaccines are available that will help prevent these infections and keep people healthy. For flu and COVID, everyone aged 6 months and older are recommended to be vaccinated to help protect ourselves and our families against serious illness. Fall remains the best time to be vaccinated. Respiratory viruses circulate year-round, but peak late fall through winter. Your doctor can recommend which vaccines are best for you and your family.
Brought to you by Intermountain Health and KSL News Radio.
You're listening to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Wastewater monitoring is proving to be a powerful tool for health officials, especially when it comes to highly infectious diseases like the measles. In 2025, health officials were able to detect the measles virus in wastewater up to 9 days before any clinical cases were reported. Dr. Nathan LaCrosse is the wastewater surveillance system manager at the Utah Department of Health, and he says this monitoring has become an important early warning system.
So it's proven to be quite helpful, I think, is the general consensus now. And this is, I should preface by saying, this is all relatively new. As a broad public health surveillance measure, this sort of thing didn't exist prior to 2020 or so, which is when we got started, and a few other states got an early start as well. And one of the big benefits of wastewater surveillance is that it helps to fill in gaps left by other more traditional data sources and surveillance systems. For example, with traditional case identification and contact tracing, that is heavily dependent on a person's ability to access healthcare and their willingness to access healthcare. Healthcare in this situation includes testing. If they can't or won't, then we're never going to see data about them, and we're not going to know about them and not going to be able to account for them. With wastewater surveillance, as long as somebody is making use of their local sewer system and we are sampling from there, some part of our data will be from that person. We're not going to be able to identify them. That's not our goal, and technically it's not possible with the type of sampling we're doing, which is fine. But we're still being able to get data from them. It's also extremely efficient. We are able to, with our current setup of 35 sites, sample from, as a rough estimate, approximately 88% of the state's population twice per week. That's just not feasible via really any other mechanism that we're aware of.
So describe for us what you have found when it comes to the measles.
We've found that a couple of things, one of which is that it is considerably more widely spread than we knew about via identified clinical cases. This was not necessarily surprising to us. I think everybody had a pretty strong suspicion that this was going to be the case. Measles is one of the most transmissible and infectious diseases. But having data to show that demonstrably has been extremely helpful. Another thing is that, as we've seen in the past with SARS-CoV-2, which is what we have the most experience in with wastewater surveillance, we have at times been able to see changes in our data before we see corresponding changes in the clinical data. And as I mentioned, this is something that we've seen not universally, not every time, but with some frequency with SARS-CoV-2 and some other pathogen targets as well, where we'll see something in advance of those similar changes, especially increases, which is, of course, what we're most interested in as well. And with measles, that's often been, we'll start seeing it in the wastewater system. There's no known cases there. And then a few days, a week, something like that, they'll be suddenly start finding cases in that region. Sometimes that's because we're able to use our data to help direct things like contact tracing in a more focused and efficient fashion.
So if public health officials know 9 days in advance before these cases start to show up, how does that help them?
It can help greatly. So in situations like that, sometimes every day counts and every day can matter. It allows you to start taking actions early to try to limit the spread. If you know that it's already there, you're able to direct resources in a more efficient way and put them in places where they're hopefully going to be able to do the most good. With infectious diseases, the earlier you're able to intervene and take actions to try to stop that spread, the smaller the outbreak is likely to be. At least you have a greater chance of impacting it positively like that. If you let it grow because you don't know it's there and you don't know that you need to do something, then each person is going to be able to have a sort of uninterrupted chance of infecting more people, and they're going to go on to infect more people, and it spreads exponentially.
So we've talked about measles. We know that you can detect COVID. Does this monitoring allow you to detect other types of diseases?
It does, yes. And in fact, we are currently sampling for, I'd have to do a count, probably 7 or 8 different things right now. So COVID, of course, is the thing we have the most data on going back to 2020. Measles is one of the most recent, going back to middle of this past summer. We also have data on influenza A and influenza B and RSV, so respiratory syncytial virus. And we are starting to gather data on Mpox and a specific subtype of influenza A. There's a few of them. We're going to hopefully onboard tests for the rest of the subtypes in the near future. And then we're in the final stages of onboarding some assays for a relatively new emerging pathogen called Candida auris, which is a type of yeast that primarily affects more vulnerable populations. So think people with pre-existing conditions in like long-term care facilities where it can be extremely serious for them.
You mentioned how new this technology is. What are the hopes for the future and kind of the significance overall?
So I should say, in terms of technology, it's not necessarily new or groundbreaking. It's more the broad-scale long-term application of it, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. In terms of hope for the future, I think we all hope that this will, and I think we're on our way to this, becoming a really core part of standard public health surveillance because it is very efficient and because it helps to fill in some of those gaps I mentioned earlier with other longer standing, more traditional data sources around access and willingness to access healthcare and testing. So our hope is that it really entrenches itself as a standard part, and we're able to secure the resources to keep going with this and make it a standard part of public health surveillance. So this data is available as a standard resource that all of our public health colleagues and the public can access and make use of to see what is happening in their area and hopefully take appropriate actions based on that.
Dr. Nathan LaCrosse is the Wastewater Surveillance System Manager at the Utah Department of Health. It's 1:30 midday at KSL News Radio. I'm Maria Shilaos. Some of the stories we are watching this hour. A new state audit finding nearly $50 million in inaccurate and incomplete invoicing within the Department of Health and Human Services. The deadline to enroll for Marketplace Healthcare is today. And KSL traffic, Ricky.
A new accident, I-15 at the South Interchange in Murray. Maria?
And thank you, Ricky. KSL's top local stories this half hour. A Utah lawmaker wants to create a new alert system similar to the silver and amber alert systems that we already have. KSL News Radio's Adam Small has details.
State Senator Jen Plum is proposing a bill to create a purple alert system for missing people who are nonverbal or those who have certain cognitive conditions or other special needs that make them vulnerable.
Kind of modeled it after a bit of a hybrid of the amber alert and the silver alert systems.
Plum says several people brought the topic to her attention, but she says one specific case had a big hand in this, the one where a nonverbal man with autism went missing near the University of Utah in November before going missing again the following month.
Thankfully, this isn't something that is a, everyday occurrence, but when it does happen, it's so important that there is a way to bring the systems and the voices together, because chaos certainly never helps in a crisis situation.
The bill currently only sets up adults to qualify for a purple alert, but Plum tells me she will be updating it because some kids don't meet the criteria for an amber alert if they go missing. Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
Other local stories KSL is following. Utah is expected to miss out on about $300 million in tax revenue this year because of President Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill Act. Now Utah lawmakers are trying to make up for that lost money with the legislative session starting next week. Now, state leaders tell the Deseret News they aren't looking to increase local taxes to make up for it. Instead, they are looking to cut whatever expenses they can out of the state budget. Taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow up by 365 points, 0.75%, sitting at 49,515. S&P is up by 32, and the NASDAQ is up by 126 points. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by UCCU. Supercharge your savings at uccu.com. Here's Ricky Meese.
We do have a small accident in Murray. This is going to be northbound on I-15 at the I-215 junction. That's what we call the South Interchange. All vehicles for now are out of traffic on the right shoulder, so no lanes blocked, no delays. Then in Summit County, we have a crash in the cleanup stages northbound SR 224. This is at Ute Boulevard as you're approaching the I-80 junction, but everybody out of traffic, and you're going to see a little bit of backup to get to I-80, but it's not due to the crash. Put your energy into the fight song, not fighting for parking. You win when you take UTA to the game. Plan your trip at rideuta.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Headed for a high of 46 degrees. A lot of sunshine in the forecast for the next 7 days. A few clouds. And yes, the inversion is going to be mostly with us. We will get a break, slight break from the inversion over the next couple of days. Right now, 43 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Any Hour Services can help you make sure your furnace keeps you warm this winter. Whether you need a tune-up, a repair, or a second opinion about replacing it, call Any Hour Services or visit anyhourservices.com.
I'm back to doing what I love and more, thanks to the Good Feet store.
Do you want to walk, play pickleball, and enjoy other fun activities to stay healthy, but you can't because of bad feet? Hi, this is Mike, and the Good Feet store wants to help.
I just had difficulty walking. I tried them on in the store, and my foot felt so much better.
Do you keep buying new shoes and inserts with little or no relief?
I tried all kinds of shoes. It was the arch supports that made the difference from the Good Feet store.
Don't let bad feet, knees, or back problems get in the way of staying healthy and having fun.
Thanks to the Good Feet store, I bowl in 3 nights a week.
Get back to doing what you love. At the Good Feet store, we'll personally fit you at high-quality arch supports to maximize your comfort. Stop in the Good Feet store or book your free fitting at goodfeet.com. We have locations in Farmington, Riverton, and Sandy.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
This is Andy Farnsworth with One Kind Act a Day's Minute of Kindness, brought to you by the Semnani Family Foundation. In Idaho Falls, Zach and Amy Martin, owners of Pick Me Up Drinks, have turned a social media trend into a movement for good. Zach's Roll for Soda videos have millions of views, and now the Martins are using the same dice to roll for kindness, choosing a new service project with every roll. They've filled school pantries, supported foster kids, donated to shelters, and are now working to raise $25,000 to pay off school lunch balances. Every act is funded by their community of followers, proving small contributions add up to something big. Their kindness is inspiring people across the country to start rolling for good in their own neighborhoods. What act of kindness could your next roll inspire? Find out more at thepowerofkind.org. That's thepowerofkind.org.
You are listening to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. A new state audit out today finding nearly $50 million in incomplete pharmacy rebate reporting and invoicing at the Department of Health and Human Services. The reporting is required by Medicaid. Joining me to go more in depth on this is State Auditor Tina Cannon. Thank you so much for being with me.
I appreciate the opportunity, Maria.
So $50 million, that's not a small amount. Tell me what your audit found and what it means.
Well, it is not a small amount by anyone's measurement. We found was with the implementation of a new computer software system at DHHS, the interface stopped working for requesting these rebates. Why this is a concern is this has been ongoing for 3 years at this point. We have another 8 months past the date of this audit report where the problem has continued without expectation of it being fixed for another month after now. So we have over $50 million at this point that is at risk of not being reimbursed. And any time the state is looking at a budget deficit, as we are this year, and we have over $50 million that has not yet been reimbursed and is in danger of being lost based on the time period, that is a major concern.
Yeah, I'm reading your press release, and so as I understand it, these rebates should come from manufacturers, right?
Yes. Yes.
And so there's no way to still get that money, even though we are late on doing so?
They're going to attempt it, but that is why we've expressed the concern for the last 3 audits that the reimbursement period has expired on the vast majority. So we are up against an expiration date, and that is never a good position to be in when you're asking for a rebate.
So tell me about the computer problems that led to this.
So, unfortunately, we see this quite a bit as we audit agencies across the state. When computer software is developed and then implemented across these agencies, if there is not a check to all of the systems that should be operating before implementation, you'll have failures in the system, and this one is costly. So, it is becoming a reoccurring finding as we review these agencies to make sure that someone who is familiar with their system and all of the systems and how they interact is part of that implementation process so that things like this don't happen in the implementation process. We've seen this across at least 3 agencies just in the past year as I've done these reports. So it's becoming it can lead to these types of issues where you're losing out on multiple millions of dollars.
It sounds like they just don't have the proper tech support to fulfill the changes.
Well, some of these, because the Department of Technology Services provides support for all of the agencies, but if you don't have someone within the agency who is familiar with your system and how your system works, and instead of just relying completely on an external source with Department of Technology Services, because Technology Services doesn't know your functions as well as you would internally, relying on an external supplier of those services without checking it and having responsibility within the agency, you'll find these failures. And that's a consistency across those different agencies, that we need someone within the agency who knows how the full system should be working to be part of that transition.
I appreciate your time. Thanks so much for being with me.
Thank you.
That is Utah State Auditor Tina Cannon joining me. Midday continues in just 60 seconds.
Progressive knows life takes you in many directions.
Bear right at exit 32, then begin to wonder why you never bought a fish tank. In 1.3 miles, you'll realize you've been mispronouncing epitome your whole life. At the roundabout, you will remember you said something at dinner you wish you hadn't and will think about it for decades. You have arrived at your destination, but it turns out there really is no destination and life just keeps going.
Wherever life takes you, protect your home and auto with a bundle from Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime.
Our entry-level data plans start at just $20 a month. And for a limited time, switch and get your second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you and get your second month free today. Plans include $5 credit for autopay and e-billing. See site for additional details.
The deadline is quickly approaching, the final chance that you'll have to sign up for health care in 2026 through the Affordable Care Act's marketplace. If you haven't signed up by the end of today, you won't be able to enroll in an Obamacare medical plan this year unless you have a qualifying life event. Midday executive producer Andy Cupp sat down with Dr. Catherine Hempstead, Senior Policy Officer at the Robert Wood Foundation, to get more info on what you need to know if you haven't signed up for health care yet.
People returning to the marketplace are almost universally going to see either medium or large premium increase, and people new to the marketplace are going to, see that the plans are not as affordable as they might have hoped because the tax credits are smaller, and folks who are 400% of the federal poverty level or over are now going to find, and just for reference, that's like $62,000 a year for a single person. They are going to find now, unfortunately, that they don't have any tax credit at all. And that's a big impact of the tax credits going away, because one of the things the enhancement did was it gave tax credits to that higher income group, and it increased the size of the tax credits for everybody else. So people that get tax credits are going to get a smaller one now, but those folks at the top end of the income distribution are going to get nothing. And they're going to see, I think, the most extreme form of sticker shock of all enrollees, especially if they're older, because those are people that have to pay higher premiums anyway.
Talk to me a little bit about access to quality and affordable healthcare coverage in general. A lot of people have looked to the ACA for assistance over the last 15-ish years now, but a lot of people also still say it's the Unaffordable Care Act. What needs to be done to make it truly affordable for people?
Well, I mean, the ACA, I mean, I think you can look at our system and say in America we spend a lot more for healthcare than almost any other country, sort of across the board everywhere for employers and Medicaid and Medicare Advantage. You know, our prices are just higher. So we have a system where we spend more for care and we don't cover as many people. And I think, you know, you can have a big conversation about why that's the road we chose and maybe we could do things differently. But I mean, to be fair, the ACA isn't really any more expensive than any other part of the American healthcare system. It's really no more expensive than what employer coverage costs, but in employer coverage, you have the employer paying a pretty hefty share and you have a big tax incentive and the worker pays some. A lot of workers feel like they're paying too much, but you know, they pay less. And so I think it's a little bit of a false claim kind of to act like the ACA is uniquely expensive. It's sort of as expensive as what a comparable plan would be in the employer market. But when you take away the tax credits, you're really asking people to pay sort of the retail cost of health insurance. And that is, you know, very, very expensive. So you know, we've pieced together a system where over time we've had, you know, we've gotten to the point where we have a somewhat affordable offer for almost everyone. And the individual market is a big gap where people had nothing. You know, people that were too young for Medicare, made too much for Medicaid, and didn't get an offer from an employer really had nothing. You know, they had nothing. And when people sort of talk about the you know, the good old days before the ACA, they're really talking about plans that wouldn't cover pre-existing conditions and really wouldn't do you any good if you had some kind of chronic health condition, which is a lot of people, and had an ongoing need for, you know, for medication and care. So the good old days really didn't work for people. And the ACA is an important fix. In Utah, a lot of people use it. I think you have like as pretty much close to 10% of your population is enrolled in the Affordable Care Act. So it's not some niche market. And I think as we see more and more people starting small businesses, going out on their own, being freelancers, you know, maybe they're an early retiree and they're, you know, doing something they want to try, or they're in a family caregiving situation with a spouse who's already in Medicare, you know, it's a really important piece of our system. And if it becomes unaffordable or goes away, there's really nothing to replace it. So although I think across the board, American healthcare is too expensive and we don't end up covering everybody. I think some of our peer nations have got simpler systems. The ACA is not uniquely expensive, and it is an increasingly important part of our ecosystem.
With just a few hours left to go until the deadline comes, how much time should people set aside to sign up? If they wait until the last minute, I know for signing up for private insurance, I usually have to sit down for a couple hours and actually go through things. Is it that kind of a process, or is it a lot more thorough for the ACA?
You know, if you're applying for a tax credit, you know, and most people are, you know, you have to sort of build a little bit of that time into it. A lot of people work with brokers, you know, and that's definitely a great solution. If you know a broker that has maybe helped a friend or neighbor or does Medicare Advantage, chances are they'd be really good at helping you make, you know, your application for the Affordable Care Act. So I encourage people to think about that if they feel a little bit overwhelmed by the you know, by what they need to do. If you go to healthcare.gov, which is your site in Utah, you'll be able to see the plans and compare the plans. But, you know, if you want some more help, a lot of people do decide a broker is a good strategy for them. You know, I think the regular rules of choosing a health plan apply here. You want to look at the provider network, who, you know, are there doctors you really care about or want to be having your network? You may or may not feel that way. If you take a particular medication, you want to maybe see how it's covered in your formulary. That could be important for you. I mean, all the plans are the same in the big important ways. They cover the same thing. So there's not like a terrible choice you can make. And then the other thing you want to choose is your metal level. Do you want to pay higher premiums and pay less out of pocket? Do you want to pay lower premiums and have to pay more out of pocket? And I think with the price increases we've seen, a lot of people are buying down, getting a bronze, giving them some basic coverage for, you know, big events, but, you know, good, important source of financial protection, but maybe a little bit less help when you maybe need an x-ray or an MRI, or like a lot of those things are going to be in front of your deductible. And, you're gonna have to come up with the money to pay for them. So I think that's the problem with the lower actuarial value plans, especially for lower income folks who might be more at risk of going into debt, or having problems, or just not using their coverage because they're terrified of what they might get billed, and that's not a good outcome either. But if you think about health insurance, does two things for you: financial protection and access to health care. So it's better to at least have the financial protection than nothing, I think, So I think when people are saying, I can afford a bronze, is it worth it? I would say yes, because you never know when something could happen to you that could give you a really, serious amount of financial exposure.
Dr. Catherine Hempstead is a senior policy officer at the Robert Wood Foundation, focused on healthcare. She says the best place to start with your research is going to healthcare.gov. She says it's possible that Congress could do something more to reinstate enhanced subsidies later this year, but she wouldn't recommend that people hedge their bets on that. Just keep it in the back of your mind. Odometer fraud on the rise in Utah. KSL investigator Matt Gephardt will join me to explain after the break. But first, it's KSL Traffic. It's brought to you by UCCU. Transfer savings, earn more. UCCU, love where you bank. Ricky?
We have a medical emergency in traffic westbound SR 201, the 21st South Freeway at about 9th West. This is after the I-15 junction, and it's blocking a right lane. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
I'm Jordan Wilcox, your Utah tax attorney. When life gets overwhelming, some things tend to fall by the side.
I'm Carlos Sanchez from Draper, Utah. I was managing a business, helping out a business, doing paperwork and getting paid, and my wife got sick. We filed taxes, but then we got audited. And when I went and talked to the IRS, they didn't give me any choice. The IRS pretty much said, this is what you owe us, when are you gonna pay us? And we're talking quite a bit. But every time I drive, I listen to the radio. Jordan Wilcox, Jordan Wilcox. So I figure there's a reason this guy's on the radio. So I called him.
Put an end to IRS collection and aggression today.
The amount that the IRS came up with, close to $250,000, and the offer in compromise was about $7,600. That's it.
This is Utah tax attorney Jordan Wilcox. Let's solve your IRS nightmare. Visit endtaxworry.com.
Go for it. The outcome, it was worth it. I'm okay.
endtaxworry.com.
This week's movie show brought to you by Sound Sleep. Get a free sleep screening and a free sleep consultation by tuning in on Friday mornings. Sound Sleep with 7 locations in Utah.
Hi, this is Doug Ryden. For years, I've been telling you about products I truly believe in and that we use in our home. And one is Kinetico. We all know the downsides of hard water, tough on home appliances, frustrating spots on shower doors, but it also affects your personality. When you shower, does the water feel invigorating? Hard water can leave your skin feeling sticky and itchy. A Kinetico soft water system changes everything. It's like having a luxurious spa experience when you shower, making your daily routine something you look forward to. Kinetico, it's a difference you can feel. Their patented system uses far less salt than competitors, and they're exclusively focused on water softeners. They're the experts in their field, and they'll show you the difference for free with no obligation to buy. Call Kinetico Quality Water Systems of Salt Lake, an authorized independent dealer, at 801-576-8600, or check them out online at softwaterutah.com. Start enjoying your water. Spoil yourself every day.
It's not too late. If you got government health insurance again, especially here in Utah, this matters because a lot of families are paying more and getting less. Everyone focuses on the monthly premium, and yes, at my policy quote, I can help there. In fact, many of my Utah families are seeing 47% savings and even more on gold level plans. But the bigger issue shows up when you actually need care. The moment that university or blue insurance card hits the counter, prices jump, and with family deductibles now climbing to $20,000, all of that bill lands right back on you. My name is Mike. At My Policy Quote, I help individuals and families and businesses move into private insurance based on health, not income, so you're not overpaying for things you'll never use. That means lower costs, access to national PPO networks, and a plan chosen and managed by you, not the government. If you pay your own health insurance, you're on COBRA, uninsured, or your employer plan is just too much, even self-employed or small businesses, call me, Mike, today. 385-367-6779. Again, that's 888-367-6779 or visit mypolicyquote.com. That's mypolicyquote.com to get started now.
Are you ready for a new you in the new year? The Salt Lake City Fat Loss Program has helped thousands of frustrated men and women feel confident in their clothes, boost their energy, and finally feel like themselves again. So, what's the secret? Salt Lake City Fat Loss uses a science-proven plan to help reset your metabolism and lose up to 1 pound of fat per day without dangerous drugs or exercise. And right now is the perfect time to start. Due to overwhelming demand, Salt Lake City Fat Loss has extended their huge New Year's sale, over 20% off for a limited time only.
I'm Maria Shilaos. Do what I did. Lose up to 1 pound per day. Right now, you can save with their New Year's special at slcfatloss.com.
Whether you want to love what you see in the mirror again, boost your energy, fit better in your clothes, or feel more confident and healthier as you age, Salt Lake City Fat Loss works. Huge New Year's sale is ending soon. Schedule your free consultation today at slcfatloss.com and lock in your savings. That's slcfatloss.com. Results may vary.
This is Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Thousands of odometers in cars across the state are suspected of being tampered with, costing Utahns thousands of dollars. KSL investigator Matt Gephardt dug into this story. He joins me now with more. And first of all, Matt, I have to say this comes as a big surprise to me. I would have thought, our cars are computerized. This would be more difficult.
Yeah, I mean, my first thought when I think of rolling an odometer is that movie Ferris Bueller's Day Off, right? Where they drove Cameron's dad's car around and then they tried to jack it up and drive in reverse to get the miles to come off. Which with those old rolling odometers, right? You used to be, if they wanted to roll an odometer, a bad guy would crack open the dash and put their thumb on the scale there and roll the numbers, and then you'd have a rolled back odometer. Well, it's computerized now. Turns out it's actually much easier. Turns out all you need to do is know how to program the computer, which apparently lots and lots of bad guys know how to do.
Yeah, it's pretty concerning. Your story says thousands of people may be affected by this. I mean, how do we even know if we're affected by this?
So the good news is the answer to that is a vehicle history report. Companies like Carfax, which will actually do this aspect of it, will do it for free. So if you get a vehicle history report, you can look at it and say the car on such and such a date was manufactured and had 0 miles. And then 6 months down the road, it had 10,000 miles. And then some years down the road, it had 100,000 miles. And then if all of a sudden you're looking at the thing and you go, how did it have 100,000 miles last April and now it has only 70,000 miles? Well, that's a pretty good sign it's been tampered with. And then there's also things that a mechanic knows how to look at, right? Mechanics can look at an engine and examine aspects of your car that will look at them and go, no, that doesn't seem right. That doesn't jive with, there's definitely more miles on this car than you would think.
Okay, so this is kind of a buyer beware.
Very much.
But what about those folks who may have already bought a used car recently?
If you bought it, it's fraud. So it's a crime. So you can call the police and you can get the fraud reported. Although, as I've reported in previous stories, you don't necessarily know who committed the fraud, right? So if you buy the car, even from a reputable dealership, that doesn't necessarily mean their onus is not on them to verify the odometer before whoever they would have necessarily bought the car from. And so, so to know that fraud happened is one thing. To know who committed the fraud is a totally different thing. And so it's very hard to unwind after the fact. And the reason this matters, of course, is safety. Cars are less, there are things you have to do to make them safe the more miles you put onto these things. And number one. And number two is money, right? Because when you look at the thing, the number one thing you look at, color, make, model, whatever, and then how many miles does the thing have, and that determines value. And so based on the fraud and based on the study out of Carfax, the people who are victims of this are losing usually more than $3,000 per vehicle that they purchased when they go to resell it, and all of a sudden the next guy runs a vehicle history report.
Right. So let's go back for a second and talk about how this became so easy. So what has made this so easy for the bad guys to do this?
Going digital. And so there are these tools that exist for very legitimate purposes, right? Because the miles on your car all have to do with your chassis. So if you were to get in an accident and it were to mess up your, control panel or some computer stuff under the hood or even your engine, and you had the thing rebuilt, then it would, you plug in the computer and it shows, well, this is a brand new car. No, it's not. It's been around for however long it's been around. And so they have these tools that mechanics can buy and plug in, and they've demonstrated this for me. They plug in, and you can put in whatever number you want. You hit enter, and the legitimate guys are programming it so that the number that shows on the dashboard matches right with the number that the chassis actually is. But these things which are available easy, online, I've found them for a couple $100 on places, legitimate websites like Amazon, other places like eBay. And you can buy these things, and they simply plug into the port in your car, and you can put whatever number you want.
And that's pretty easy for anybody to use?
Apparently, I haven't done it myself. It's been demonstrated for me, but it's as easy as buying the thing, plugging it into the port, the same port that maybe you are currently plugging something in. A lot of insurance companies have these things you can plug into the port, and they monitor your driving as you're driving around in theory to help you get discounts and stuff. So the ports are accessible by you, the driver, the consumer. And if you have this device, it's as easy as programming it in and hitting a number and hitting enter.
So when you had this demonstrated, how quickly can this be done?
8 seconds.
That's it. 8 seconds.
It was the guy said, this Kia is in my shop. It has 150,000 miles. Watch this. Boop, 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 boop. Enter. I watched the dashboard turn off. I watched it turn back on, and it said 50,000 miles, which was incorrect by 100,000 miles.
Okay, so obviously the powers that be know that this is a problem. Is there anything being done to put any sort of safeguards in place, or make sure other people can't do this?
Vehicle history reports is really it is a buyer beware. It's a consumer thing. No, it's already against the law. I know, a lot of times we try to regulate our ways out of certain things,
Sure.
but committing fraud is a crime. You're not allowed to do it. So if someone does it and they're busted, they can not only have to give the money back, but go to jail potentially. So what's being done is like any police work, depending on whether or not you have enough evidence to charge an individual with having committed fraud. It can be done in that regard, but for the most part, no. There's certainly no new tool that I know of that's coming along to try to prevent this.
Matt, thanks so much.
Yep.
Just do your research if you're buying a car, right? All right. Thanks for joining me. And thanks for being with us for Midday. In the next hour, we'll take a look at this gunky air that we're experiencing and what can be done to help make it a little cleaner. Stay with us.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Frustration at the Utah State Board of Education today over proposals to cut programs and budgets by $300 million. The push to slash the budget coming from lawmakers on Utah's Capitol Hill. Board members choking on tears during their testimony.
You look at these kids in the faces. I'm sorry. I want the legislators to walk through the halls of these schools and you tell those kids what programs you're going to cut. Not happening. You find somewhere else to cut things.
The time is 2 o'clock on Thursday, January 15th. It's midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Coming up, budget cuts for Utah schools. We'll get a live report in just a few minutes. Also this hour,
we need a better way to be able to share information, to let the public know, and ultimately protect these vulnerable folks.
a proposal for a new alert system to help find people with disabilities and mental challenges when they go missing. But first, our top stories. A hospital in Ogden had to pause all emergency operations after police say an upset patient threatened to blow the place up. KSL News Radio's Heather Peterson brings us the story.
This happened around 5:40 last night at the McKay-D Hospital in Ogden. Police say 50-year-old Dustin Child had been seen at the hospital earlier in the day and was unhappy with his visit. He then came back later and told hospital staffers he had a bomb in his pocket and if he moved his hand, it would go off. That section of the hospital was evacuated and emergency operations were put on hold. When officers responded, they found that Child did not have an explosive. Police documents say Child admitted to making the bomb threat, knowing it would disrupt the emergency room and bring a large police presence. He was taken into custody on suspicion of a number of crimes, including threats of terrorism and causing a false alarm with a weapon of mass destruction. Heather Peterson, KSL News Radio.
Our top national story from ABC News. The White House says the president is monitoring the situation in Iran and hasn't ruled out military action. And at the White House, Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says the president has made it clear to Iranian officials his position.
The president understands today that 800 executions that were scheduled and supposed to take place yesterday were halted. And so the president and his team are closely monitoring this situation, and all options remain on the table for the president.
An activist group says thousands have already died in anti-government protests. Other national stories KSL is following. Tensions continue to flare in Minnesota as ICE agents and protesters clash. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz and Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey are both urging protesters to remain peaceful, but those calls come as President Trump has threatened to invoke the Insurrection Act, which would give him power to deploy the military on the streets of Minneapolis.
Once invoked, the Insurrection Act gives the president extraordinarily broad discretion, and courts generally defer to the president with respect to just how much discretion that is. So it is potentially a dramatic expansion and militarization of domestic law enforcement.
That is ABC News legal contributor James Sample. The Helper City Police Department is investigating after a body was found inside of a camping trailer that caught on fire. Fire department responded to the call yesterday. They're not sure if the fire itself was the cause of death. No additional details have been released at this time. Taking a look at your money at this moment at the close, the Dow up by 292 points, sitting at 49,442. S&P, NASDAQ both had good days. The NASDAQ up by 17 points, and the S&P up by 17 points, the NASDAQ up by 58. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by UCCU. Transfer savings, earn more. UCCU, love where you bank. Ricky?
Good speeds on your Salt Lake County freeways, but a little bit of trouble in Tooele County. A possible crash westbound I-80 approaching Lake Point. It's on the right. Supercharge your savings with UCCU's high-yield savings certificates. The more you deposit, the more you earn. Visit uccu.com, select a high-yield savings option, and earn more. UCCU. Love where you bank. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Our high temperatures along the Wasatch Front staying in the mid-40s for the next few days. Could reach up to 50 by the middle of next week. And not a chance of rain or snow in the forecast. Just a lot of haze out there. 44 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
What if you could have reliable and intelligent Wi-Fi? And get this, what if you could keep it at the same price for 5 years? That's the Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. 5 years of Wi-Fi that boosts speeds to the devices that need them most. That finds and fixes problems before you even notice them. Like super intelligent Wi-Fi with a 6th sense. And that keeps you gaming in the fast lane, even when the whole family is banking on bandwidth. All your devices working in perfect harmony for 5 whole years. And here's the best part. No annual contracts, no hidden fees, and our best equipment included. Hey, let's face it, a lot can change in 5 years. Kids grow taller, dreams grow bigger. But your Wi-Fi? It would stay reliable and the price would stay put. The Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. Lock in your price and unlock the possibilities. Xfinity. Imagine that. Select plans only. Restrictions apply.
Everybody loves the season of giving, but now the season of paying for it is upon us. That not-so-wonderful time of the year when millions of Americans open their credit card statements, stare in horror at the balance, and resolve then and there to find new ways to save money. If you're among those Americans, why not start by cutting your wireless bill in half right now with Pure Talk's Saver Plan? It's easy. You'll get unlimited talk, text, and 3 gigs of high-speed data on a super-fast, nationwide 5G network for just $20 a month. Just dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and you'll save an additional 50% off your first month. Ho, ho, ho! And if you're active or former military or a first responder, you'll save an additional 20% every single month. That's pound 250. Say Mike Rowe for the gift that keeps on saving from America's wireless company, Pure Talk.
Thanks for tuning into Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Emotional testimony and frustration at today's State Board of Education meeting. Board members angry with state lawmakers for pushing them to make some large cuts to the budget. The state legislature asking the board to recommend a $300 million cut to public education. Now, it's led to a huge response from students and educators from across the state concerned about what's going to be cut. Joining me now live from the State Board of Education's meeting is KSL News Radio's Heather Peterson. And Heather, tell us what's going on.
Maria, so just December 9th, just last Friday, the legislature gave the Board of Education kind of a suggestion that they need to submit $300 million in cuts by tomorrow. And so a lot of board members are really frustrated that they're being asked to make these big decisions on such short notice. Now, they put together two options, two spreadsheets full of recommendations to get them to that $300 million number. And these are just recommendations at this point, not just actual cuts, but they're being framed as like an exercise to suggest things. Ultimately, though, the legislature is going to make those budget cuts when they start their legislative session.
Okay, so what's on the chopping block?
One of the big ones is actually private education funding. They're talking about a 5% reduction to Utah Fits All to the tune of $6 million, plus nearly $9 million for Utah's private school choice empowerment program. They're also talking about cutting software for early literacy. One board member says that as they push screens out of the classroom, they don't need to be spending $10 million in computer programs. One of the more controversial line items, though, is $1 million in funding suicide prevention programs. And the big one that's causing a lot of upset is their number 3 priority this year, actually, the Beverly Taylor Sorensen Elementary Arts Learning Program. That's $20 million in funding for elementary arts and music education.
Okay. So what's been the response to the news that these cuts need to be made?
So the board members have actually been inundated with calls and texts and emails in the past day or so since these recommendations were released. They said they've had about 1,500 people reach out to them really upset about this, and they're not the only ones. These board members are really upset that they're being rushed into making these cuts. They just got this letter a week ago, and they're having to make a lot of really big decisions. And board member Erin Longacre actually got emotional talking about the lack of time to make this decision, and she said that this could really affect our kids.
You look at these kids in the faces. I'm sorry. I want the legislators to walk through the halls of these schools and you tell those kids what programs you're going to cut. Not happening. You find somewhere else to cut things. You look under every single rock in Utah and you make cuts, not in education, not for our kids. And I'm so thankful for the people that are in this room right now. We're all passionate, and this deserves time, not 2 hours. And if legislation is not going to come to the table, we should make their names public.
She's actually made a motion to put off this decision until they can arrange a formal meeting with the Education Appropriations Subcommittee and really hammer out some of the details. But some of the board members today have been pushing back, saying, like, if we don't make these cuts or suggestions, the legislature is going to do it without us. So we need to put something forward by tomorrow in order to have a seat at the table. So they're actually discussing that right now, and we'll continue to follow this for you, Maria.
All right. Thanks so much, Heather. And Heather will bring you more on Jeff Kaplan's afternoon news. That is KSL News Radio's Heather Peterson joining me to discuss a proposal to cut millions of dollars from the state's public education. We have reached out to Speaker Mike Schultz for comment, but we were told that he was unavailable to comment today. You've heard of the Amber Alert, which helps find missing children, and you may be familiar with the Silver Alert, which helps find missing seniors. But one Utah lawmaker says it's time for another alert, which she is calling the Purple Alert. This would be sent out to help find missing people with disabilities or other vulnerabilities.
This is for some of our folks who may be nonverbal, who may have some cognitive uniquenesses. There was a recent case here in Salt Lake where a young man got scared and kind of fled from a medical setting in his family, and he was missing for 3 weeks or so. Ultimately, thankfully, he was found and is safe. But in that whole kind of process, there was some clarity that came to, I think, our public safety spaces, as well as some of our community advocates, that we need a better way to be able to share information, to let the public know, and ultimately protect these vulnerable folks.
State Senator Jen Plum tells KSL News Radio's Adam Small that in situations involving any missing people, time and coordination is so important. And in cases of missing people who aren't children or seniors, there's been a real lack of organization or structure to find them. She says that creates chaos, and she hopes her bill will help address that.
When it does happen, it's so important that there is a way to bring the systems and the voices together, because chaos certainly never helps in a crisis situation. And so if we can have some organization and have a system in place where if the criteria are met, the notifications go out, there's collaborative, crosstalk between agencies and organizations as well as community groups, and ultimately we can get hopefully the best outcome for that endangered person.
Senator Plum says families of those with disabilities or mental challenges often feel misunderstood or out of place in society. Those feelings can further compound everything when their loved one is in danger.
World at large doesn't understand my kid like I wish they did. And I want them to make sure they understand how important protecting them is, but also what protecting them looks like. And I'm hopeful that this piece of legislation will be part of that kind of mindset moving forward.
Her bill currently only encompasses missing vulnerable adults, but she says she plans to amend it to include some kids who don't meet the criteria for an Amber Alert. Make sure you stick with KSL News Radio all day next Tuesday as we broadcast live from Utah's Capitol Hill for opening day of the legislative session. Continued coverage, conversations, and analysis all day long, beginning at 5 o'clock on Utah's Morning News. That's Eye on the Hill all day next Tuesday, January 20th. Stay with us. We'll be back with more in just 60 seconds.
When you need a new water heater, you need it right now.
Yep, can't wait on that.
When you need a new furnace or a new air conditioner come the summertime, you need it right now. So Superior Water and Air has a wonderful program where they can help you with financing. If you need it, get it today and pay it off when you get your tax refund or just over time.
And that's one of the great things is they have multiple financing options. It's not just one, okay, you've got to do it this way. It's, you can wait till just after your tax refund. Well, what if you need no payments until later in the year?
Yeah.
They can work with you like that because, look, they want to help you get you back on your feet with the thing that doesn't work that you got to use.
Yeah.
And they'll just work with your situation. What a great way to do it.
I loved introducing you to my friends at Superior because they're just great people. And when you invite somebody into your home, you want to feel good about them.
Yeah, and they're so customer-centric. That was what really impressed me was they wanted to work with me and my family, whatever needs we might have.
Right. They want your home to be safe and clean. Superior Water and Air. Here's the number, 801-872-8483, or go to superiorwaterandair.com.
The Utah Clean Air Partnership, or UCARE, is encouraging Utahns to do what they can to reduce pollution during the current inversion. Program Manager Mallory Diaz-Vela says simple, proactive steps can make a big difference.
As many people have probably seen the headlines, Utah right now, and especially the Salt Lake Valley, has the worst air quality in the country. So it's something that, if you're from Utah, you're probably not unfamiliar with the inversion season that we get here in the winter, but this one particularly is pretty nasty and lasting days and days. So something we like to share is that the experts at the Division of Air Quality say that during an inversion, our air pollution doubles every single day. And so when we think about what we are doing to add to that pollution as the inversion keeps it trapped here in the valley, we think about simple actions that aren't too hard to incorporate into our daily habits, but are really effective at reducing our emissions. And one of those things that we always recommend is not idling. Our vehicles, especially during an inversion event, release a lot of pollution. And when there's nowhere for that pollution to go, even idling our vehicle for more than 10 seconds at a time can cause a big buildup in that pollution, especially in your local communities. So not idling is a big one. We also just recommend that people take action in their homes, reduce that thermostat by even 2 degrees. I promise you may not feel a big difference in your comfort level, but that is going to reduce a lot of those emissions we're seeing from our homes, from our furnaces, and allowing our valley to just breathe a little bit easier during these events.
So when we take small steps like this, how big a difference does it make?
Utah is one of the fastest growing states in the country as well. So having some of the worst air quality and the fastest growing population, you have to think about each one of us in the valley is is technically, a little point source. So we're all, releasing emissions. And when each of us take action together, it makes a really big difference. And so you may not feel that your individual actions are very impactful, but if you think about you plus your neighbor plus your entire street, and then if you can get everybody in this valley to just take one small action each day, it adds up to be a very significant difference in our valley.
Let's talk for a second about idling. We know a number of areas have tried to end idling, like school zones, and there have been fast food restaurants that have tried to do this. What difference does it make if we don't idle while we're waiting for something?
Yeah, so we know that idling for more than 10 seconds is kind of that threshold where if you turn your car off and back on after that 10-second mark, it actually does reduce the amount of pollution coming from your vehicle and saves you quite a bit of gas money over the long term. So that's something we always recommend. If you are pulling up to the drive-thru and you see there's a long line for that fast food dinner you want tonight, think about parking your car and going in to pick it up. Or if you know it's going to be a long wait before that you get up to your spot in line, turn that car off and turn it back on again. Many of our modern cars also have anti-idling built into it, so that's really exciting to see that technology coming out. But idling is something that it really gets you nowhere because when you idle, it's wasting you gas money, it's putting emissions into our air, and it's just unhealthy for those that are standing outside and around our vehicles, especially, as you mentioned, in school zones.
Any final thoughts for us?
This inversion is pretty long and strong, and unfortunately, we don't quite know when our next big snowstorm is going to come through to push it out. So just encouraging folks to do what we can until the inversion passes, and remember that, get outside when the inversion does pass. Remember how beautiful our state is in our area, and do what we can the next time the inversion sets in to reduce our emissions and keep our air clean.
Valerie Diaz-Vela is the program manager at UCare. She also encourages residents to stay informed by checking daily air quality reports. For more information, resources, and tips to reduce air pollution, you can visit ucare.org. Let's talk about the upcoming Winter Games. They begin next month. We'll hear from one of Team USA's speed skaters next. But first, it's traffic. It's brought to you by UCCU. Supercharge your savings at uccu.com. Ricky?
On I-80, we do have a possible crash in Tooele County. This is going westbound prior to Lake Point. You'll see those vehicles out of traffic over on the shoulder. And we also have a new accident on the eastbound side of I-80 near State Street, blocking left lanes. Your ultimate destination for the hottest new cars and trucks, off-road vehicles, exotics, and more is at the Utah Auto Expo, the 16th through the 19th at Mountain America Expo Center. Tickets at autoshowutah.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Many of us not only are reflecting on the year past, but we're looking forward to the new year. And a great place to kick in the new year is at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. And of course, we're very lucky. We've got 2 locations. We've got Hotel Park City and downtown Salt Lake City at 275 South West Temple. Anticipate that special meal after everything calms down in early January. We all need a little bit of a boost, right? It's Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. Think of those delicious steaks that are served on that sizzling hot plate. And of course, there are other entrees as well, poultry, seafood, cooked to perfection. The side dishes are magnificent. And of course, before you start your New Year's diet, you might want to cash in on one of those wonderful desserts that awaits us at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. This is the time. Make your reservations now. Kick in the new year with Ruth's Chris Steakhouse.
Hi, this is Derek Overstreet, president of the New Millennium Group and co-host of Stop Working, Start Living with KSL News Radio. Can you imagine what your life would be like if you could retire 3 to 5 years earlier than you thought possible? The things you could do, the loved ones you could spend time with, the memories that you could create. That's what our team at the New Millennium Group does. We'll walk you through the entire process every step of the way. If you'd like to get a copy of the 5-step proprietary plan that will help you retire 3 to 5 years sooner than you thought possible, give us a shout right now. 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370 or utahsfinancialplanner.com. Listen, most of our listeners right now have a tax problem, not a money problem. There's not enough money in Social Security, Medicare as it is. Let us show you how you can significantly reduce your taxes. That's 888-999-6370, 888-999-6370, or utahsfinancialplanner.com.
If you're tired of hot, uncomfortable dress shirts that just don't hold up, sweat stains, stuffy collars, short tails, sound familiar? Meet your new favorite dress shirts from Serve Clothing. The game-changing design features a mesh collar shield that stops sweat stains from ruining your look. Plus, built-in vents keep you comfortable under suits and jackets, no matter the season. You'll love the extra length that stays tucked in and the antimicrobial odor-fighting fabric that keeps you fresh all day. Forget about replacing your dress shirts every 6 months. With Serve Clothing's unbeatable 2-year guarantee, you know your shirt is built to last through the toughest work days in any climate. And giving back is a priority. Last year, Serve Clothing helped to outfit more than 750 missionaries and others in need using a portion of your orders. Don't wait. Serve shirts sold out 4 times last year. Visit serveclothing.com right now to get yours before they're gone. Serve Clothing. Dress shirts that actually serve you. serveclothing.com.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime.
Our entry-level data plans start at just $20 a month. And for a limited time, switch and get your second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you and get your second month free today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional details.
Progressive's accident response can detect and send help when you need it most, after a major car accident. But other accidents, you're on your own. Like when you accidentally call your wife Mom. When you accidentally say Happy Holidays on someone's birthday. When you accidentally wave at someone you thought was waving at you. We can't help with those accidents, but Progressive's accident response provides peace of mind after major car accidents. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Limited availability in California. Driver is responsible for emergency and towing charges not covered by the policy.
My savings are gone.
Okay, where were they last?
Here, right before I spent them on that vacation to Aruba.
Weird. Not weird. Not saving now means no money later. For free ways to save, go to feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
You were listening to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. A new climate report found that as winters get warmer, Utah's ability to host the Winter Games could get more difficult. Fraser Bullock, the president of the Salt Lake City Utah Olympic Organizing Committee, tells me there are certain places in the world that are better suited for reliable weather, but he thinks Utah is still one of those places.
Well, they'll make it more difficult around the world, but there are certain places that are better suited than others. And fortunately, Utah is among the best in the world. But that doesn't mean we won't face challenges. So, for example, for 2034, we'll be fine. If we host again in 2050, it'll be more challenging, and we may have to take some actions to adapt to changing climate. 2080 would be even more challenging, but there are things we can do. For example, the big challenge for us is March. And if we have early warming then for the Paralympics, that's when we hold the Paralympics, we may have to move the calendar forward. So we would start the games maybe late January, have a shorter gap in between the Olympics and Paralympics to make the games more safe to host in March for the Paralympics. There are also other things we can do, such as we stockpiled snow back in 2002 to be ready for an unexpected warm spell in March. And we tested that out in 2001. It worked well. So there are many things we can do to be able to still host the games, we believe, as late as 2080.
Yeah, and as I recall, 2002 wasn't the biggest snow year either.
It was not. It held off until long after Thanksgiving. We were getting a little nervous, but it allowed us time to build all our temporary bleachers and everything in the mountains. But then the snow came, and it came big, and it was actually perfect for us.
So when we talk about these adjustments that may need to be made, is that going to add to the cost of putting on the games?
We can do it in such a way that it won't add any cost, because if you just move things forward a week or two, that can be done without cost. If we compress the window between the Olympics and Paralympics, that just means a lot more work for some people, but it's still doable without adding significant cost. But it's all worth it because Utah is one of the best places in the world to host the games, if not the best, because of the compact theater, the support of the people. So it's worth it to go through these exercises and thinking through what are the possibilities and actions we need to take to be able to be, hopefully, long-term host of the games many more times into the future.
And plus, time is on our side, right?
Time is on our side, yes. And we just love the games here in Utah, so let's keep at it.
Fraser Bullock is the president of the Salt Lake City, Utah Olympic Organizing Committee. While Salt Lake City is preparing to host the Winter Games in 2034, athletes are laser focused on the Milan Games that kick off in less than a month. One of those athletes, American short track speed skater Corinne Stoddard.
So I'll be racing in every event, the women's 500 meter, 1,000 meter, and 1,500 meter, and then the women's 3,000 meter relay and the mixed relay, which is 2,000 meters.
This is Stoddard's second time representing the U.S. in the Games, and she's going in feeling more competitive, but the nerves don't go away.
Last time it was kind of just like an experience for me. I wasn't really competitive back then. I was really young and I didn't have a lot of short track experience. So I'm glad I got those first few Olympic races under my belt just so that I'm not as nervous going into these ones. Gold is up for grabs for any 5 or 7 of us. So I'm obviously always pretty nervous, but I kind of use it to my advantage because I really race better with adrenaline. In training, I'm not nearly as strong as I am in racing. I'm just not like a practice skater. I'm a racer. I still work super hard in training, but for some reason when I go and race, that adrenaline like really gives me a next level.
The big goal for Stoddard, like most competitors, is to win that gold medal.
I mean, obviously my goal is to come home with a gold medal, but also bringing back multiple medals. I mean, that's been my goal since I was a little girl, was to go and win the Olympics. So it would really feel like a dream came true, and that all my hard work had finally paid off. And for the whole sport, for the U.S., I think I would hope it's going to motivate a lot of girls coming up that if I could do it, they can do it too, and really elevate our team and our sport and for the U.S. to become the strongest nation.
Corinne Stoddard moved to Utah from Seattle about a decade ago. She says Salt Lake has become her home. Now, she's not planning to step out of the rink anytime soon, but she says if she's not skating in 2034, she wants to help with the games as a volunteer. It's 2:30, midday at KSL News Radio. I'm Maria Shilaos. Some of the stories we are watching this hour. Protesters on Utah's Capitol Hill pushing for lawmakers to change their approach to helping the state's homeless population. President Trump appearing to step back from some of his threats against Iran. And KSL traffic, Ricky.
A crash getting moved over to the right shoulder. This is eastbound I-80 after the I-15 junction. Maria?
We're going to continue with this current weather pattern. Not much change. Hopefully a little bit of that haze going away. It's 2:30.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. Following the deadly crackdown by Iran's regime on anti-government protesters, the UN Security Council holding an emergency meeting today. The U.S. says all options are still on the table if Iran does not stop the killing. ABC's James Longman is in Qatar.
Who knows what will happen tomorrow? Who knows what will happen when these funerals begin? There will be funerals for the more than 2,500 people that an activist network in the United States says have been killed in these last 3 weeks. And they could be flashpoints for further protest and then, of course, further crackdown, further death, and then get the American president's attention once more.
After meeting with top Trump officials at the White House yesterday, Denmark and Greenland officials standing firm that the Danish territory is not for sale or up for grabs by the U.S. European and NATO allies now moving troops to Greenland for military exercises. In Minnesota, ICE agents and protesters clashed last night with one person shot and injured by an ICE agent. This is ABC News.
KSL's top local story: a Utah lawmaker wants to create a new alert system for missing people with certain disabilities or other vulnerabilities.
State Senator Jen Plum's bill would set up the Purple Alert system, similar to our already existing Silver Alert and Amber Alert systems.
This is for some of our folks who may be nonverbal, who may have some cognitive uniquenesses.
Senator Plum says several people brought this topic to her attention, but she says one recent case where a nonverbal man with autism went missing near the University of Utah played a big role in bringing this issue to light.
In that whole kind of process, there was some clarity that came to, I think, our public safety spaces, as well as some of our community advocates, that we need a better way to be able to share information, to let the public know, and ultimately protect these vulnerable folks.
Plum's bill currently only encompasses missing vulnerable adults, but she tells me she plans to amend it to include some kids who don't meet the criteria for an Amber Alert. Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
Other local stories KSL is following: a man is in police custody after he joined in on a fight against a teenager.
Booking documents say 21-year-old Israel Wofford was hanging out with a group of 14-year-olds, one of which was a family friend, when one of them got into a fight with another juvenile. When it became apparent that one of them was losing, one of the teens says that the rest of the people, including Wofford, jumped into the fight. According to police, they ganged up on one teen who was struck multiple times in the head and body while on the ground. Wofford was arrested after police were shown multiple Snapchat videos in which they say Wofford is seen joining in on the beatdown. Cameron Elliott, KSL News Radio.
Taking a look at your money at this moment at the close, the Dow is up by 292 points, sitting at 49,442. S&P up by 17, and the Nasdaq up by 58 points. Traffic and weather, it's brought to you by UCCU. Transfer savings, earn more. UCCU, love where you bank. Ricky?
We have an accident eastbound I-80 just before State Street. It has been moved out of traffic, however, not before causing nasty delays on the transition ramps from both north and southbound I-15. New year, new home ideas. The South Jordan Home Show is this weekend at the Bastion Agri Center. Meet local contractors, explore the latest in home improvement, and save time and money. Free admission and parking. Details at southjordanhomeshow.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
We are looking for a high today of 46 degrees along the Wasatch Front. 43 degrees tomorrow. Hopefully a little cool front will kind of mix up the air just a little bit. Then much the same on Saturday and Sunday with highs in the mid-40s. 45 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
The Salt Lake Chamber is Utah's voice for business. Okay, that sounds great, but what does it really mean? Well, as Utah's largest and longest-standing business association, they support and champion community prosperity throughout the state. And if you're in business, well, that's a very good thing for you. Be sure to listen to the Chamber's Speaking on Business, weekdays at 7:20, 11:55, and 5:20 p.m. on KSL News Radio.
When you're making resolutions for the new year, have you ever thought of making a resolution to get a new metabolism?
So that your body is burning fat more naturally. I used to have a terrible metabolism because I didn't know what to eat or when to eat it until I did Soda weight loss. I let go of 37 pounds, and now my metabolism works for me.
I let go of 70 pounds in 5 months, and it was so nice because once that metabolism changes, the things that affected you more regularly don't affect you anymore. And those are the things that I learned from my nutritionist as I was going along and even afterward. It's so helpful. They taught me how to be successful for life.
You can call and speak to a nutritionist at Soda Weight Loss today at 866-800-SODA, S-O-T-A. That's 866-800-SODA.
Or you can go to sodaweightloss.com and see the hundreds of before and after pictures. And right now is the best time to do it because if you join now, your partner joins for free, so you get 2 transformations for the price of 1.
It's 866-800-SODA.
Because soda is, say it with me, Amanda, state of the art.
If you've ever wondered how to create predictable income for your retirement, and further, how to make it tax-free, we invite you to join us for the Tax-Free Retirement Show, Saturday afternoons at 5, and also to learn about the Retirement Income Maximization Strategy, or RIMS report. You can learn more at rimsreport.com. That's R-I-M-S report.com. Or join us Saturday afternoons at 5 for the Tax-Free Retirement Show.
You are listening to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. A rally at the Utah Capitol today is pushing back against a proposed homeless services campus and calling for more housing instead of shelter-only solutions. KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera was there and spoke with rally goers and lawmakers who took part in the protests.
Maria, the message was pretty consistent that homelessness doesn't get solved by shelters alone. About 100 people filled the rotunda, including faith leaders, housing advocates, and service providers, all urging lawmakers to focus on deeply affordable housing with services rather than a large centralized campus that would move people out of the city. A big concern they raised is that the state is making major decisions without fully understanding who actually needs what kind of housing.
Eric, that's where Senator Nate Bluin comes in. And what is he trying to do with his bill?
Right. Democratic Senator Nate Bluin says the state lacks clear data on the different groups experiencing homelessness and that it makes it harder to build solutions that actually work. He told me today that too many of these decisions are being made top down without enough input from people who work directly with those most impacted.
The message is really just trying to bring the stakeholders who directly communicate with the impacted populations on a day-to-day basis to make sure that that it's not just coming from the top down, that it's not just coming from people who have a financial interest in these decisions, making them, that it is coming from bottom up, from people that are impacted, from community and stakeholder groups that really interact and can push people in the right direction if we have the right data, push policy in the right direction if we have the right data to get the things that we need to get built, to get the services that we need to have online to help people out of their struggles that they're feeling right now because of other policy choices we've made, making sure that those people are at the table when the decisions are getting made.
Eric, we've heard a lot about this homeless campus. The Republican leaders seem to be pretty committed to this new campus model. Does Bluin think that there's still time to change course?
He told me he's not optimistic about stopping the campus idea outright, but that he is concerned about what happens if it's rolled out without full funding or the services to support it.
Going halfway is just going to make things worse than trying to actually provide the full scope that they're trying to do. I think you're going to end up with people that are just being ignored and treated in ways that are potentially worse than they have now. Because right now at least they have some autonomy, and in a situation like that, you're going to have, it sounds like, certain types of law enforcement agents and restrictions they have to meet in order to be in that position, and that scares me. I think especially if you have an underfunded, under-resourced, understaffed situation where I think you'd see some heavy-handed tactics being used, like we're seeing, frankly, with ICE and with other law enforcement agencies who feel empowered to do whatever they want right now. So that bigger picture really scares me.
So, Eric, what happens next?
So Bluin says his bill is meant to get better data on the table before lawmakers commit to massive projects. Advocates at today's rally say they're going to keep showing up during the legislative session, pushing lawmakers to prioritize housing, not just shelters, and to make sure people most affected by homelessness have a real voice in the decisions being made.
That is KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera reporting. We have reached out to the state homeless coordinator for comment on the complaints raised in the rally today, but they were unable to comment at this time. Utah officials cracking down on illegal massage parlors. A new Utah law aims to help prevent or stop human trafficking, and state leaders say this often happens in these illegal massage parlors. In fact, this might surprise you. There are more of these illegal places in the state of Utah than there are McDonald's.
It's a crazy statistic when you think about it, but this is not where massages are taking place. This is where illicit sex is taking place, often driven by sex trafficking. And that's the saddest part of it all.
Executive Director of the Department of Commerce, Margaret Bussey, tells Inside Sources one way they're going to enforce this law is to require massage establishments to register with the Division of Professional Licensing.
What that does is it makes the owner and the operators culpable and findable. We actually know where these illicit massage businesses are because there's a nonprofit that sort of tracks all of this. So if these businesses don't come forward to register, then we kind of have a regulatory hook, if you will, to go after them. And what it does also is it protects the legitimate massage establishments from being sort of harmed reputationally by the illicit massage businesses, because they will come forward and they will register. And so really it just gives another regulatory hook to be able to go after these in ways that oftentimes our law enforcement partners haven't been able to get to.
When it comes to sex trafficking and these illegal massage parlors, how exactly does it work? How do the two link up?
Folks are typically recruited from other countries many times, young women, even girls, told that they're going to have a better life, that they're going to, have all of these benefits by coming to the United States. And then when they arrive, they're told this is how they have to pay off their trip to get here. And so it becomes almost like they think it's like an indentured servitude type of a situation. And they're often not, because they're new to our country, they don't know where to go, whom to report to, that this is happening. And so in this way, now we hold the owners and the operators of these establishments accountable with this new regulatory hook, because oftentimes the victims they don't know where to go, and they don't understand what their rights are under U.S. law.
What these businesses do is illegal, but what about their customers? Is there anything that they are doing that's illegal? Anything the state can do to hold them accountable?
It's awful to think that there is a market for this, but what we're really trying to do is to shut these places down, so people will have to go out of state to find these kinds of services. We don't want them to be here. And, it's illegal to seek out commercial sex. So when we go after the owners and operators of these establishments, then we can go after some of those folks as well. But that's really where it starts, is to be able to identify and hold accountable the owners and operators of these establishments.
Law enforcement has voiced support for this new law, saying it gives them new tools to help end human trafficking. Midday continues in just 60 seconds.
Happy New Year, Susan. I really appreciate you picking up the bill for lunch.
I'm happy to. One of my New Year's resolutions is being better with money. So I've started using Upside, the free app that pays you cash back for buying gas.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get paid cash when you buy gas with the Upside app?
Yes, I earn cash back just for buying the gas I was already buying.
Does that actually add up to anything?
I'll make $200 to $300 this year.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now in the App Store or Google Play and start earning cash back on everyday gas purchases. Use promo code RIDER for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's up to 50 cents per gallon on your next fill up. You can cash out anytime, right to your bank account or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code RIDER for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code RIDER. Code RIDER.
Offers vary by user and location. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions.
The U.S. now pulling troops out of a major military base in the Middle East as Iran shuts down its airspace. It comes as President Trump steps back his threats against Tehran, saying the killings have stopped and executions will not take place. He has posted on social media earlier saying help was on the way. ABC's Ann Flaherty examines what's happened to cause President Trump to ease up a bit on his threats against Iran.
Early yesterday morning, we got word that Al Udeid Air Base had been evacuated, at least with non-essential personnel. Now, this is the largest air base in the Middle East. It's this kind of nerve center that U.S. Central Command uses for all air operations. And it was also the target of Iran's retaliation last summer. If you remember, after the U.S. had bombed those nuclear sites, Iran had launched these missiles targeting Al Udeid. So, when we got word that U.S. personnel were and other personnel were being asked to leave, it sort of sent the signal, well, what is the U.S. planning? Is there an attack underway?
So like if Iran is saying we will respond to any American attack by firing on their military assets, you're like, oh, so are we planning an attack? Is that what they're thinking?
Exactly. And keep in mind that the president for days had been threatening Iran and saying, you can't go after the protesters.
And I've canceled all meetings with the Iranian officials until the senseless killing of protesters stops. And all I say to them is help is on its way. You saw that I put tariffs on anybody doing business with Iran.
And, Iran had said, well, we will fire back. And it seemed like we were on the brink of something happening yet again, another major U.S. military operation, until President Trump, talking with reporters later yesterday, seemed to call it all off.
We've been told that the killing in Iran is stopping, and it's stopped, and it's stopping. And there's no plan for executions or executions.
He was asked point blank, does this mean military action is off the table for now? He says, we're going to watch and see what the process is.
But we were given a very good statement by people that are aware of what's going on.
So, that appearing to give the world some time, a breath, that tension seeming to dissipate really within a matter of hours.
Yesterday, Iran's foreign minister told Fox News that there were no plans to hang or execute anyone right now, but he also referred to the protesters as terrorists.
There is no any hanging today or tomorrow or whatever. That's Friday. I can tell you, I'm confident about that. There is no plan for hanging at all.
So if the president is pulling back on his threats against the country, what options are still on the table?
Well, we've been speaking to experts for days about this, people who study Iran. And, I spoke with Professor Nadir Hababi, a professor of economics of the Middle East at Brandeis University, who said, look, there's no one single building that would really cripple the IRGC. This is the military arm of the Iranian government. They go to great lengths to layer commanders. So if one person is taking out, there always going to be another person that's going to step up. President Trump could consider a very dramatic action like targeting the official residence of the supreme leader or a blockade of ships. Both of those actions would be considered an act of war. The downside is the retaliation. The U.S. has 30,000 troops in the region, and the concern would be making sure that they are safe. Keep in mind also there's no U.S. aircraft carrier in the Middle East right now. The largest U.S. aircraft carrier, the Ford, was moved from the Mediterranean to the Caribbean because of the recent operations in Venezuela. So, there would be a concern about making sure that the U.S. had the right military assets in place to protect U.S. forces there. But, we were also talking to experts who say, he could do sanctions, he could use cyber ops, influence ops.
We may get the internet going, if that's possible.
At one point, President Trump talked about trying to put up Starlink to restore internet access for people within Iran because, of course, that internet blackout.
We may speak to Elon, because as you know, he's very good at that kind of thing. He's got a very good company.
I think one thing that's important, though, to point out, Brad, is that I'm told by experts that the Iranian people took Trump's threats, the threats of military, very, very seriously, and that many of them took to protest in the streets as a result. And now they're waiting.
Flattery says if a deal isn't reached to protect protesters and ensure executions don't happen, it's very uncertain what will happen next. Making health education more accessible to those who are deaf or hard of hearing. I'll tell you more after the break. But first, it's traffic on KSL News Radio. It's brought to you by UCCU. Supercharge your savings at uccu.com. Ricky?
This is a new accident in Utah County, southbound I-15 prior to Center Street, Provo. Now, the good news is they've been able to get it moved over to the right shoulder. The bad news is not before it caused delays, and these are stop-and-go speeds. Back to, I'm going to say, about University Parkway in that vicinity. So it's still going to take you a while to clear these delays as you're going through Provo. If you're in Salt Lake County, we do have delays northbound I-15 going from 90th South up to Midvale. No matter the weather, your feet can feel fantastic. Find the Good Feet location nearest you at goodfeet.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Don't miss the winter sale going on now at Dave's Bernina in Provo and St. George, featuring incredible pricing on new Bernina demo machines and floor models that come with full 5-year warranties and free classes.
Save hundreds to thousands of dollars on all new Bernina machines.
Such as the next generation Bernina 325 model, $999. The Bernina 480 is only $2,499.
Even the most advanced sewing machine in the world, the Bernina $49.90 is on sale.
And 1.9% interest for up to 48 months on certain machines.
Dave's Bernina just received a limited amount of school buybacks in excellent condition.
Also, customer trade-ins.
Both come with 2-year warranties.
Take advantage of 25% off on all Bernina cabinets and furniture.
Dave's Bernina, 691 East St. George Boulevard and 2017 North 550 West in Provo. Dave'sBernina.com.
Sign up for KSL Text Alerts. Get breaking news and traffic updates by texting the word news to 57500. Want access to exclusive contests? Text contest to 57500. Jazz fans, text the word jazz for breaking jazz updates. And Cougar fans, text BYU to 57500 for the latest on the Cougars. Message and data rates may apply.
You gave years, maybe decades to your job. You showed up, worked hard, and planned for retirement. But now, the company's changed. Or maybe you've taken a buyout or been forced into early retirement. So, what happens next? I'm Jeff Jr., founder of Trajan Wealth. And if you've built up a 401k or thrift savings plan, now is the time to ask, is that money really working for you? Many workplace retirement plans offer limited options and even less guidance. At Trajan Wealth, we help people just like you roll over their accounts into IRAs with more flexibility and personalized investment strategies built around your goals. For households with $500,000 or more, let us build you a personalized plan. We operate on veteran values, service, trust, and doing what's right. Your next chapter starts now. Call Trajan today. 801-207-9900. That's 801-207-9900.
Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. See website for details.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-8157. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-575-8157. That's 800-575-8157.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
If you've ever set New Year's resolutions before, you know how difficult it is to follow through because you have to wait to see the results. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and in honor of your New Year, New You resolutions, Any Hour Services is having our New Year, New System sale. From now until the end of February, Any Hour Services will give you $2,026 off a new furnace and air conditioner. And you don't have to wait to save the money. You get $2,026 off at the time of purchase. The only thing you have to do to qualify for our New Year, New System sale is call Any Hour Services and schedule a free estimate. When you call, there's no obligation to buy. Just schedule a time to meet that works best for you. Let me say that again. From now until the end of February, when you have Any Hour Services install a new furnace and air conditioner, we'll give you $2,026 off. Call Any Hour Services right now and schedule a free estimate. 801-443-7400. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
This is Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. When it comes to health, experts say one of the most important things that you can do is to make sure that you are educated. Whether that's being educated on your family history, your risks of certain cancers or diseases, or how to improve prevention for various medical issues, education is key. Like they say, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. For people who communicate in American Sign Language, there is a new way to get educated on diabetes, and it's thanks to a new website from the University of Utah.
This is the first diabetes education website in American Sign Language, and the reason why it was created, a couple of reasons. So I grew up in deaf culture. My mom and 5 deaf aunts and uncles are deaf, so 6 deaf family members total. And so I've seen time and time again their struggle to get help information because interpreters aren't always provided, and information often is in English. So if you go to a clinic, a lot of times if you don't speak their language, they give you a handout and just hope for the best. And so I really saw challenges in my family. And then I'm also a nurse practitioner, so I provide diabetes care, and I just thought that I could try to merge those two worlds together. And so I've been working with a community advisory board who are deaf all across the country, and we really sought to understand what their needs were. And one of the things that came out of meeting with them is they said they really needed health information that was easily accessible in their primary language, American Sign Language.
Michelle Lichman is an associate professor and nurse practitioner with the U.S. College of Nursing. One question she's heard before is, why doesn't English information work for those who communicate with ASL? A lot of people equate the two together, but Lichman says there are some key differences that can make it hard for an ASL communicator to fully understand things written in English.
A lot of times people make an assumption that American Sign Language is visual English, and it's not. It's two completely different languages, two different grammar structures and syntax, and so you have to liken them to two other languages like French or Spanish or English. So they're just different. And so when you provide an English handout, it doesn't translate in the same way as it would if it's an American Sign Language. American Sign Language is very visual, and just an English handout does not provide that.
Lichman tells KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis that people who are deaf or hard of hearing actually have tripled the risk of getting diabetes, so this kind of website is critical. You can get more information and find a link to the site on our website, kslnewsradio.com. We're now getting a look at the data from Australia's first-of-its-kind law banning kids younger than 16 from being on major social media platforms. The law went into effect last month. ABC's Mike Dubusky has more on how things are going so far.
Australia's e-safety commissioner now says social media companies have removed access to 4.7 million accounts. Those removals happened within 2 days of the country passing legislation requiring 10 social media companies, including Facebook, Instagram, and X, to take reasonable steps to ban accounts belonging to children under 16. However, several questions remain unanswered, such as which platforms removed the most accounts and which age verification methods are most effective. Mike Dubusky, ABC News.
Under Australia's law, social media companies could be fined tens of millions of dollars if they fail to take reasonable steps to remove those underage accounts. Can you imagine, Jeff, if they tried to do that here in the U.S.? I mean, they're putting all these rules, but
it'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Kids will be in an uproar.
I advocate for shutting the internet off from 5 to 9 p.m. every night just to give everybody a chance to breathe, let alone banning kids from social media.
I kind of like that idea.
Right?
All right. Jeff Kaplan is here. Jeff Kaplan's Afternoon News is next. Have a great afternoon.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Good afternoon, 3 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Jeff Kaplan. We're at 45 in Salt Lake City. KSL's top story. The Utah State Board of Education has been told to cut $300 million from its budget by tomorrow. There are a lot of strong feelings about what's to be cut and the short timeline to make a decision. KSL News Radio's Heather Peterson is live with the latest. Heather?
Jeff, the legislature sent the board a letter last Friday asking them to suggest what they can cut by tomorrow ahead of next week's legislative session. The board came out with a spreadsheet of cuts, including to suicide prevention programs, Utah Fits All, and to funding for elementary arts and music programs. The backlash has been swift, with one board member who said in today's meeting that they had about 1,500 calls, texts, and emails from people upset about the proposed cuts. Even board members like Aaron Longacre are upset they're being forced by the legislature to make these decisions on such short notice.
We need time. We need to make sure that when we vote for these cuts, you look at these kids in the faces. I'm sorry. I want the legislators to walk through the halls of these schools and you tell those kids what programs you're going to cut.
The board is not the ones making these cuts, though. They are just making suggestions to the legislature, who will ultimately hold the purse for Utah's public education system. Reporting live, Heather Peterson, KSL News Radio.
Utah Highway Patrol says a driver on I-15 hit 2 patrol cars this morning. What happened? From KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla.
2 patrol cars were on the shoulder of I-15 near 400 North and Bountiful this morning, making a traffic stop when they noticed cars were not switching lanes to give them space. One of the patrol cars decided to follow and stop someone who didn't move over, when a different car that failed to switch lanes came up behind and rear-ended them. That car then rolled into the left lane and hit another car, which happened to be an unmarked patrol car.
A chain reaction crash. This reminder, move over to the left if an emergency vehicle's on the right side of the road or on the shoulder. KSL News Time 3:02. Our top national story, as the protests continue in Minneapolis, President Trump is threatening to invoke the Insurrection Act.
Once invoked, the Insurrection Act gives the president extraordinarily broad discretion, and courts generally defer to the president with respect to just how much discretion that is. So it is potentially a dramatic expansion and militarization of domestic law enforcement.
ABC News contributor James Sample. Governor Tim Walz in Minnesota is urging the demonstrators remain peaceful. More than 20 people, including several former college athletes, have been charged with manipulating NCAA basketball games. The 2 accused ringleaders, Marvis Fairley and Shane Hennon, were named in the indictments.
Mr. Fairley, Mr. Hennon, and these other leaders would bribe NCAA basketball players to the tune of $10,000 to $30,000 per game. The player would then agree to deliberately underperform in the game in which his team was favored to lose by a certain amount of points. They would then try to lose the game by more than that amount.
U.S. Attorney David Metcalf.
The marketplace are going to, see that the plans are not as affordable as they might have hoped.